Have fun, y'all.
Drivers, start your engines!
Ready, green flag, all rolling. All the way out, stay in, come on. Bye-bye, front end, see you later. These guys are really good. Keep digging, stay in the gas. Hang on, dude, baby. Did not hit a thing. Why are you waiting so long, man? Bottom clear, shaking you down here. White flag, hit your mark.
Welcome, everybody, to NWP tonight here on DannyBTalks. We are joined today by the Iceberg, Jarrett Lundberg, Eric Eastep, and coming all the way in from the wacky world of OCRP and tornado chasing, it is Jeff Favignano. We haven't had you on since, 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2021.
Wow.
Oh, 2021, 3 years ago.
I was
oh,
in
my
the
gosh.
garage we were talking about.
Yeah. I think it's been 3 years, hasn't it? Yeah.
Dang.
Sounds about right.
How do we keep you off for this long?
Well, he's a man of many talents, Danny. He's got a lot going on this week, every week, man.
That
good
is
to have you
true.
here.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So let's get right into it. My shirt says it all. The Coke 600 happened this weekend. Well, kind of the Coke 600. It still counts. If you combine this one and David Rudman's Coke 600, you have a Coke 600 there. So
actually, 600. They made it 600 kilometers.
Oh,
They made it. It was 601 kilometers.
Oh man! So
Beautiful.
this is the first rain shortened Coke 600 since David Rudman 600, or was there another one? I'm not remembering.
I know
Sounds
last
about
year's
right.
got postponed to a full day, but I don't know about rain shortened.
Well, there's a lot to question here. Why was it shortened? That's a big question a lot of people are even asking, because shortly after this, it was called, it got pretty dry, and people said they definitely could have still raced into the night. Who was to blame for this? Was this a Fox decision? Was this a NASCAR decision? Was it really as humid as we heard it was, and that was keeping the track moist? Not even wet, just moist.
We've heard it all at this point. Wasn't it last year we joked about the tinted windows? That's why NASCAR called New Hampshire early, and now it's humidity.
Wearing two pairs of sunglasses.
Yep. Whoops. Yep.
I don't think they've ever used humidity as an excuse. Not even once.
That's a new one.
That was a weird one for me.
You want to know the funniest part of that? The company that's headquartered down in Florida, Daytona Beach, is saying it's too humid. We don't know what to do.
Rough.
That's the
Brutal.
best part to me.
Yeah, it's hard to say whose decision this truly was because we keep hearing conflicting reports. Like Denny Ham on his show is like, hey, we're ready to race. And then, whoop, they canceled it, or they said no, they called it. And then you heard Jordan Bianchi, who was there, saying that, oh no, the track's not dry. And he was talking to crew chiefs. Supposedly they said, yeah, it's not going to be till like 1 a.m. maybe until we can go green. And if that's truly the case, then I guess I understand why they called it. But there's conflicting reports, conflicting ideas, conflicting perspectives. All I know is I feel really bad for the fans who were there in attendance. Being home, watching on TV, I was frustrated that we weren't going to see Kyle Larson run the race, that we weren't going to see the race finish. But I can only imagine if you waited there through the showers for 2 hours or whatever it was, and then they told you to go home, that would be extremely frustrating. So that's why there's so many angry fans, and I don't blame them.
It was just a huge disappointment to what was turning out to be, a pretty fun day of motorsports. We waited forever, and it's like I was tracking planes on the Flight Radar 24 app, and is that Larson? No, I found the one that Rick Hendrick was on, but I didn't find Larson's plane. All of a sudden, here he comes, and
they were on separate planes.
Yeah, they rushed him out on a private one to get him there faster. They put rush shipping on him.
I see. I gotcha. Man, Rick Hendrick's got multiple jets on making short notice flights. That's Rick Hendrick, I guess.
Already has early Prime subscription. What's so kind of frustrating about this too is because we'll get to the poll in a bit and how
I can't wait to hear what our fans thought of this.
Oh,
Their reactions. It's got to be brutal.
It is.
Well, it was the lightning delay that actually kind of screwed over Larson.
Yeah.
It wasn't the rain so much because he was there, but that lightning delay really screwed him over to even get in the car and start the race.
Well, and I saw a stat that said that this was the most amount of green flag passes during a Coke 600 since 2011.
Really? Even though it was shortened?
Mm-hmm.
That surprises me because I feel like the last couple of years have been really good, but maybe I'm misremembering.
Well, we were on pace. I think it was for like 6,000 green flag passes in one race. I mean, it was an insane number because we made it, 249, I think?
Yeah, about 250 laps.
Yeah, that's the part that blows my mind. That's also the part that gets so frustrating to me is I was having a great time, and I looked like an ass because I was getting ready for my post-race stuff, and I was watching the broadcast at the same time, and the broadcast showed all these videos like, we tried, but it's just getting too wet, and it shows all this rain. Fox played it off like it was raining, and I probably should have been able to tell because Bell's interview, it was dry. But I thought it was rained out. And everyone's like, no, you idiot. They said it was just humid. I thought they were trolling. I really did. I gave it like a 7 out of 10 because I thought the race was really good. It just didn't get finished.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like objectively, I thought the racing was once again very good for an intermediate. There's 2 and 3 wide, multiple grooves. You saw plenty of passing. Like Tyler Reddick came from a lap down to finish inside the top 5 in a shortened race. That tells you could make moves through the field. It just didn't have that, it didn't climax, I guess. The end of the race is the most exciting. That's what everyone tunes in for. The most people tune in for, I should say. And we never got there. So it was, a great show with no finale. And that is naturally going to leave people disappointed.
I'm trying to think of a show that's like that I can like equate it to because
I'm like, what's a great TV show with a terrible series or season finale? I'm sure
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones is a classic example.
I binged that in like a week because I wanted to get in on the hype last minute and then watch it with my grandparents and my brother. And I'm like, man,
watch it with your grandparents.
No, the ending at least. I kind of figured they weren't going to have more of the season 1 escapades in the finale.
Yeah, well,
not as many. And I was like, this is great, and I'm like, that's it, that's it, that's how it ends. That's how I felt about this race with the full picture put forward.
I love the chat. They're throwing out shows. Sopranos, the Fairly Odd Parents. Does the Fairly Odd Parents have a terrible? Are they still making that?
Does it even end?
Yeah, I don't know. They're still making a show.
To be fair to Christopher Bell, he was going to win that race. More than
I agree. Unless there was something like we could actually move into the Christopher Bell conversation, Derek, too, because as much as I think Larson dominated the headlines from this race, we do got to give credit to Christopher Bell because he was putting on a very memorable, dominant performance that we haven't seen as much out of him. Like to this point, I feel like
I'll say this: Denny Hamlin pointed it out in his show, and I will never unhear it now because I went back to like see if it was true. But when Christopher Bell wins a race or he's really happy, his voice gets higher and he talks a lot faster, and he's like like that. And I will never unhear it again. I will never unhear it. Thank you, Denny Hamlin.
And just a quick shout out here, David Bell, his dad. He's always a frequent commenter in our chats, and he donates with memberships and super chats on all of our channels, and we appreciate him. He actually got to be there for this race. I saw a video clip that he had sent me where he was there with Todd Bodine in the makeshift like victory lane area, and he was able to congratulate his son.
Yeah, I saw him like in the chat of my post race, I'm pretty sure, and I'm like, what are you this is not my time, go.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I this is something I think it's really been needed for Bell. I mean, that team has been so off since March, and they've been fast. It's just things happen and get in the way, or the races are not fast. They are really not fast. So
unless there was some late race shenanigans that was going to happen in this one, I'm not convinced that the wrong driver won this race. I will say that.
I think for the race that was run, Bell was arguably the most deserving. I do think Brad Keselowski and Tyler Reddick probably had better long run cars. So it was going to come down to how the race played out. Short run versus long run. Can Bell keep his track position? If so, he'll be tough to pass. That's how it was going to come down. And then if Larson gets behind the wheel, who knows how fast that 5 car flies through the field. I do think of the 250 laps that was run, Bell was probably the best car. Where did he finish? I think he finished third or fourth in the opening stage, won the second stage, and now gets credit for the third stage win as well. So he was getting better throughout the night. And like you said, Jarrett, he's been terrible for about a month. A couple, like 2 or 3 30th or worse finishes, lots of mistakes, not the same speed as his teammates Hamlin and Truex. It was good to see sort of like early season Bell. He won that Phoenix race, a race that all the Toyotas led laps, but he especially looked really strong at Phoenix. This was the best we've seen Christopher Bell look since Phoenix. And it was nice that it was a completely different type of track. That again tells you that this is a team that is diverse, or they're versatile is the right word, I guess. They can win anywhere, anytime. This was effectively a reminder of that.
Yeah, and after 2 weeks of Ford kind of coming to strength there for a little bit, it was kind of a taste of reality seeing the Toyotas look good. Granted, Brad was still up there and Ford still looked like they're getting better, but it was definitely good to see Christopher Bell show what he can do.
Yeah, I think RFK has officially become the most consistently good Ford team. Blaney, they had a mistake on pit road. Logano just never ran inside the top 10, whereas Chris Buescher came from the back to the top 10 before his own issues on pit road, and Brad Keselowski drove up to second. So RFK, they've officially cemented their place as the best Ford team right now. So that was my only takeaway from that.
And we will definitely talk about this more later when we get into the SHR stuff, but definitely with all that happening, this gives them a huge opportunity to really cement where they're at with Ford moving forward.
Yeah.
But moving on from this, I think it is time, guys. We've got to talk about the orange and blue elephant in the room.
It's isn't it papaya or some? What does McLaren call that damn color? I think it's papaya. It's not mango.
Well,
is it?
I'm in Tennessee. My seat of Vols, it's orange to me. So we got to talk about Larson. He fails to complete he wasn't ever going to complete the Hendrick 1100 because of what happened, but he fails to even get in the NASCAR race because of what happened.
Kurt Busch even wrote him a letter, and it still it's so cringe to watch it now back, but it's like you're gonna do great. You're gonna do good out there, kid.
He needed to throw it in the bottle and have it just sort of float to him.
Actually, before we jump into this, Jeff, I know you're a Kurt Busch fan, or were, I guess, a Kurt Busch fan.
Yeah.
Do you remember when he ran the double 10 years ago? Like, what was your reaction to how? Because he was, I know, didn't he blow an engine in the Cup race? That was just a bad break.
Yeah, it was just a bad time.
But great at Indy. Like, how would you compare Kurt Busch's Indy 500 effort?
It was a
to Larson?
It was a huge deal. That's what sucks about this double being not happening and the whole waiver situation. It's because, it's really like a big grand thing for a driver to do both. And not very many people have done it. So for NASCAR to be like, oh, we don't know what we're going to do here. I think that, in my opinion, he gets a waiver because of the amount of work that they put in to do this. And Kurt did it and then came in and had bad luck. But I just, it's one of those things where it's like, it was a big deal as a motorsport fan.
Yeah, you could see that. We talked about this last week. In the weeks leading up to this, both the Indy 500 qualifying saw a huge ratings jump, and that night the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro saw a significant ratings jump. And you got to imagine that's because casual motorsports fans were curious to see Larson going back and forth. Two different tracks, 2 different cars, same day. The prestige of the Indy 500. Yeah, I mean, we've had a few days to sleep on it now, but Sunday night, granted, they called the 600 at like midnight or 1 a.m., whatever time it was. But at that moment, I was so depressed. It just felt like we'd all been robbed of, like what you were just saying, Jeff, a beautiful motorsports moment. And then the next morning, reading Larson's this little soliloquy, his little essay he posted on social media. It felt like a eulogy, and I felt bad for him. I even felt bad for Rick Hendrick. I never thought I'd say that, but I felt bad for Hendrick Motorsports, the juggernaut that they are, that this didn't go their way. And so having a few days to sleep on it, it doesn't sting as bad anymore, but it still does feel like just a huge missed opportunity. We can get into the waiver talk in a moment, but I'll let Danny and Jarrett, you guys can chime in as well.
I think of the 3 hosts here, I think and this is probably weird for a lot of longtime viewers, like I think I was the most optimistic person about this. I was like, listen, if he can like even just run for the win at Indy and then win the 600, it'll be one of the greatest accomplishments in motorsports history. Like this, we could be looking at history, and like it's all right. It's not raining until it's actually raining, and maybe Indy gets rained out and he can still do them both. And like once it was done, I think I was in shock more than anything. Like I was sort of shell shocked with the whole thing.
Basically, he wasted all his time in Indy, got a speeding penalty, didn't even get a top 15, and then ultimately cost him, the NASCAR race.
Well, I also remember that I think it was David that said it was a 2-year deal, but everything I've heard of everyone talking is like, I hope I get to do it again. I hope he does. Hopefully the opportunity comes. Like, wasn't it a 2-year deal?
There's like an option on the second year. I don't know who. If it may be the type of deal where as long as McLaren is willing to do it again, I'm sure Rick Hendrick.
More like is Rick willing to do it again, because it all depends on what NASCAR does.
Yeah, we haven't heard what NASCAR is going to do yet. That will be the deciding factor of any NASCAR driver doing the double again.
That's probably a good point.
I'm shocked we haven't heard anything yet by now. You would think that this was going to come out fast.
They haven't applied for a waiver.
At least as of yesterday. They may have today. Yeah, but as of yesterday,
but nor has NASCAR come out and made a statement and been like Larson is not in the playoffs. They have not specifically said that either.
Can they really, if a waiver hasn't been put in place? And like that's the protocol they've went on with all of these different things over time. I remember when Kyle Busch had his deal, right? And I think that's a way more egregious back and forth kind of deal with fans. They didn't say really anything publicly until Kyle Busch and Joe Gibbs put the waiver in. I think it's just the way that they run things. I think it's not a good way, because obviously it's sparked this whole thing up. But like, I guess let's just kind of go into it with the waiver thing here. I think the rule is pretty much pointless at this point. I think NASCAR should just do a ball and strike call and all this stuff, and just not that they have it where it's like very set. You must be in all 36 races. Well, unless our discretion says otherwise.
Exactly.
Medical reasons.
Yeah.
It could be anything.
And I'm sorry, I don't buy the uncharted waters thing. You never thought in a million years that you could be having a driver do the double and then you have a rain delay or something to ruin the race. They've thought of those things. They had to have.
Yeah, it's surprising if they truly don't have like maybe not a contingency plan is not the right word, but just sort of a procedure for if something like this were to happen. So the rule is written, yes, NASCAR can kind of at their own discretion ultimately grant a waiver or not grant a waiver regardless of the situation. But the spirit of the rule was written so that drivers wouldn't win a race. Say you win the Daytona 500 and then later in the spring, you sit out
Sonoma.
The spring, Sonoma, because it's a long drive, expensive to go,
or you just
doesn't
suck
pay
at road
as well.
Courses, so
you
it's
suck
like
at road.
point.
Yeah, the idea was to force drivers to not take off weeks more or less. And so in the spirit of the rule, Kyle Larson, he didn't take the week off, but he did choose a rival series over one of NASCAR's biggest races. So I get why NASCAR wouldn't love how it ultimately ended up, but I think NASCAR will grant him a waiver, and they should. They better grant him a waiver because they helped promote this whole deal. This was good for them, and I think they see that.
True.
Larson going to Indy the last month and exceeding many expectations up until that speeding penalty was great for the sport. It legitimized NASCAR, built NASCAR's brand and platform, and they signed off on it all month long. I don't see any reason they should backpedal now. The question will be going forward if 3 or 4 drivers want to do the double next year and weather becomes a factor once again. Like, do they add like a Larson clause that says, hey, if you're going to do this race in particular, you have to prioritize Charlotte, or we're not like they could, because they can make up anything they damn well please. They're NASCAR. That's how it works.
It would be one thing if I would say no. I would say no to a waiver if he was running like the Larry Jenkins 100 at some random dirt track or something like that, just because he wanted to. But for this one, it's the Indy 500. Here's my only clause here. I would say grant the waiver, but because of the fact that he did not make the Cup Series race, which there was always a chance this could happen. My thing is grant the waiver, and yes, he's won this year, but I would say he needs to win one more race after this,
or
and
points too. Like my thing was like, if this happens, Kyle Larson.
If he can make it in on points, then great. Yeah.
Well, he's third in the points. I mean, he was the leader coming in. He only lost 2 spots. He's like 5 points back. Maybe make points matter here. Like just be in the top 16 or win another race in the overall standings, and you're in.
I would basically say this undoes the previous wins locking him in. That's what I would say. You can win another race and get locked in, or you can make it on points. That's what I would say.
I hate the entire discussion with it. Kyle Larson is a championship contender under any system, no matter if he misses a race or not. It'd be the same thing as if Jeff Gordon in 07, he talked about skipping a race that season because he was locked in. He had a 400-point lead, and he's like, I'm not missing the birth of my first child. And ultimately, it didn't happen, but they had a game plan. Like, I'm going to skip this race. I'm going to make the chase, whatever. And if it were a full season, he would have won. And if it's a full season with Larson, he still probably could win. I think that talking about a championship contender being eliminated because of this, like I get a full season format. Like the race would matter more if it were a full season format of missing it, but it doesn't under this. It's NASCAR set it up where it ramps up through the year. I don't think what is basically a 1 out of 26 race regular season should take him out in the way the system is made. I think it's too harsh a penalty for something NASCAR made happen. Like
I would ask the chat. I would ask the chat right now. If Kyle Larson, what's the question? I don't know what the question should be, but like if NASCAR were not to grant Larson this waiver, you have to put an asterisk on the rest of the season. You have that cloud hovering over the rest of the season because arguably the championship favorite now is no longer championship eligible, even though he's still going to go out there and win probably 3 more races or more this year. Every time he wins, we're going to sit there and say, hey, Larson wins again. He's not championship eligible. Like that's an asterisk. You put an asterisk next to this season if you disqualify Kyle Larson.
Well, I'm seeing in the chat, like there's one comment that says you guys really want small punishments for him running the 500. And it's like, I do think that in some way, one, you could have won the race or won a stage. It's one of his best tracks. Like that will punish him just on that merit alone, is that maybe that matters at some point, his seating.
If he's denied, heads will roll.
Oh yeah, I think it's that way. NASCAR's made it that way.
They know that. Yeah, they know that.
Yeah, they've made it that way. It's the way they've made the waiver is like, listen, Eric, no disrespect to Matt Kenseth, but he had no business getting a waiver in 2020, having not started the first 5 races.
Yeah, they did that to appease Chip Ganassi, most likely.
If you're going to do that, this is a gimme.
Yeah, I think so too.
They'll do it. Yeah. They'll make the right call.
Yeah.
They might just milk it another week.
yeah, maybe that's it.
I mean, yeah, for real. Because I know all the content creators, all their staff, all the writers are all going to milk this stuff for a little bit. I did put out a poll right now. I said if NASCAR were not to grant a waiver for Larson, would there be an asterisk on this year's champion? Looks like 79% say yes, 21% say no on that one.
Yeah, it's just he's probably the championship favorite right now. I mean, he was the regular season points leader before this whole deal. Like, I understand if you want to clarify the rule going forward, but you can't remove his playoff eligibility for that. Like, I
think the rule should be clarified. I think there should be a little bit more limits. I think there should actually be way more limits on it. I get if you miss one race, like, if a family member dies or if you are hurt. Like I remember there was like the weird story of Denny Hamlin having a glass shard or something in his eye and he couldn't race. Like, sure. Like I think that freak moments like that where it's a 1 or 2 race thing, it's really not impacting too much of your season. I like that kind of leeway. I don't think that handing them out like Halloween candy is the way to go, though. Like this can be a really good moment for them to just wipe the slate clean, start over. This is the new precedent. Let's go forward with that.
We don't need an iRacing drop week system by any means.
That I can't believe I didn't think of that way of putting it. I really can't. I've been doing so much more iRacing stuff now. I can't believe I didn't think of putting it that way.
Yep.
It's a good bookend on the whole thing.
Yeah. A few other notable drivers I wanted to mention. Ty Gibbs gets a 6th place finish after starting on the pole. And Danny, your boy Alex Bowman with his 5th straight top 10 finish. How you feel about that? How you feeling over there?
Well, I had Bowman as my underdog for this one for a reason. I mean, this is always kind of been a decent track for him. And contrary to what people want to say, people think that he should be replaced in next year, even though he's supposed to be driving the car for like at least till 2026. People have been doubting. I mean, honestly, he's having statistically a really solid season. Kind of up there with his teammates. He's just not getting the wins. That's all it is.
Just needs to lead more laps, but he is killing 6th to 10th place on the leaderboard every week.
for real, man. You need a solid driver, get you a top 10, take good care of the car. I mean, we're looking at the next Paul Menard right here, guys.
I think a little better.
Paul Menard in a Hendrick car.
Well, oh gosh, could you imagine?
We're seeing it
hard for Menard. But
he won a Trans Am race this weekend. Actually,
I
shout out to Paul Menard.
But back to Bowman on this one, like running as well as he is, and if he can move up the points like that, doing that in September, October will probably get you round of 8 pretty easily, even without a win.
He could sneak in a round of 8. I believe that. And I wish he. Yeah,
I've seen him win at Martinsville before. Like I was there when he and Denny had their beef. Like. He can have just one of those random wins come out of nowhere. So people are underestimating him. I see someone in the chat calling him Bowmid. Underestimate him all you want, but he is the most consistent driver in NASCAR this year, and at least in some ways, consistency does matter.
I had made a prediction that he won't win this season. He probably still won't, but I think he will have a solid season. If he does have a win, it's going to feel random, I feel like.
I'll throw Chase. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I was going to say Chase Elliott gets my most consistent driver of the year. He doesn't have a finish worse than 19th yet this season.
Fair point.
So I'll give him that. But they're in the same category. But speaking of points, Danny, do you want to go over the playoff cut line now with 12 races to go before the postseason?
Yeah, we're going to start with right now there's 12 races to go until we get to the playoffs here. So, wow, it's coming up here faster than you think. That'll be here before you know it. We're going to start with position number 9 here. Martin Truex Jr. has a 153-point gap. That's pretty solid right now.
I think that's pretty good.
That's real good.
But a lot more winners come in. This could get interesting real fast.
You could make 54 points up a race without winning. I went through and saw.
And I've also seen some guys just flat out lose it in summertime too. So we'll see. Ty Gibbs is sitting comfortably with a 101-point gap. Alex Bowman, we were talking good about him. He has a very comfortable 74-point gap, which is way better than where he was coming out of the Coke 600 this time last year.
Wait a minute. 74 points is really comfortable, but anything could happen with 153.
I mean, okay. They're all going to blow it. Ross Chastain sitting there with 58 points. Brian Blaney is 13th with a 42-point gap. Bubba Wallace, 14th, a 21-point gap. Kyle Busch is there with a 12-point gap and 15th, and right behind him is Chris Buescher, an 11-point gap to the playoff cut line. Chase Briscoe is your first guy below, 11 points behind. Joey Logano is in the 18th, and he is 30 points back, your all-star race winner. Josh Berry is 19th, 82 points back, and Austin Cindric is 20th, 96 points back. And statistically, if you're behind there, you need a prayer, bud.
You're 100 or more back at that point.
Yikes. Yep. What stands out to me from there is Chris Buescher plus 11. That Darlington finish just stings all that much more.
Oh, Kansas, more than that.
Oh, well, but Darlington, he ended up 28th or whatever it was. So I would say both because he lost more points at Darlington.
Because if he finishes just second, let's say, that's 27 points added to that.
Yeah, he'd be up in like 13th, 14th instead of on the bubble. So
of those 4 that are below the playoff cut line, I'll ask this for all 3 of you. Who would you say is most likely to get in? Because I'll go first on this. I would say Joey Logano is most likely to get in from that group.
That's probably the
that was
right
mine.
call.
Yep.
So I will say that for now. But ask me after Gateway.
Yeah, well, this is one of Logano's better tracks the last 2 years.
This is my litmus test for him. Like, he doesn't have to win for me to have any confidence. But if he runs like 15th all day, I am officially really worried about him.
Hasn't 1-2 the last 2 years in vice versa order been Kyle Busch and Joey Logano?
Last year, Denny Hamlin got up to second right at the end.
Logano was third last year, I think.
Okay.
But he was still really good, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is his test right here. And seeing how
test.
Yeah, for real. That team needs a lot of tests. So, but Logano surprised me at the All Star race, and that being a flat track, we'll see.
Yeah. And I'll throw out Josh Berry. He's 19th, minus 82. That's a lot of points to make up, but he does have 4 straight top 15 finishes. So I know there's a lot of, it's a lame duck season now for that whole team. But, Rodney Childers could be the top free agent out of Stewart-Haas this offseason. He's still, auditioning if he needs to for his next gig. That tandem could make some noise if they keep rattling off good finishes.
Yep.
All it takes is one strategy race. That's it.
Yeah.
And speaking of strategy, let's talk about people's strategy for watching TV this weekend and talk about their ratings. Fox scored 3.103 million viewers in this rain-shortened Coke 600, which is down 9% from the 2023 viewers. And in the key demographic, it took up 20% of the total viewers at 625,000 people in that key demographic who tuned into the race. And as for the Xfinity Series race, it had 1.157 million viewers for the Xfinity Series race.
I don't know what to make of that number because it was obviously delayed, or no, it was rain shortened. So again, we didn't have all the people tuning in for the finish. And then also the first hour plus was directly competing against the Indy 500. So
you also compare it to last year, which was on a Monday, but it is Memorial Day.
Yeah, so that's comparable to last. I mean, it's a little slightly down from last year, but it's like I would argue this year had more conflicts or more,
what
more things working against it.
Is like I think it was like 9 of the 14 points races this year have been up in ratings, and some considerably up. But total ratings are down 2% year over year because the 2 rain delayed races are the Coke 600 and the Daytona 500. Damn, rain delayed or rain shortened, and they're the 2 biggest races of the year. So far, at least.
Tough.
We still have the Brickyard in Chicago to look forward to if you're looking for big numbers, but that sucks.
Better luck for NBC maybe the second half of the year.
Well, and speaking of people's thoughts on the race and stuff, we got to ask our audience what they thought of this. It's time for the poll, the famous iceberg poll this week.
It's no bueno, is it, Danny?
That's not the greatest I've ever seen. 16,000 people have voted on this. So of the 16,000 people here, 4% said this was a great race. So, David Bell, how many accounts do you have, sir? Then 25% said this was a good race, meaning this race only had a 29% net positivity. And of 16,000 voters, that means that only a little over 4,600 people thought this was a solid race.
Oh, my God. The ending.
I mean, the racing was good before the rain came.
It was.
Exactly.
I think it was going to be a great Coke 600.
Yeah.
31% said this was an average race, and that means a little over 4,900 people just thought it was an average race.
I love the specific numbers.
And now we get into the majority. 19% said this was a below average race. 21% said it was just a bad race, meaning 40% was our net negativity, meaning 6,400 people thought this was just a horrible, horrible race weekend.
Is that a new record, Jarrett, for negativity on a race?
It is the most. I went back and looked, and unless my numbers are wrong, I looked back and looked, and it is the worst we have gotten on a poll for both, well, at least for the negativity aspect, we'll say that, since 2019 Pocono, which is still the all-time leader.
Wow.
Yeah, that one is like 46% negative.
That was garbage, but I'm shocked this one, because you post these literally 2 seconds after the race either ends or gets called. Like it's instant. You are getting the rage clicks in that moment. And I'm actually shocked this isn't the lowest. Pocono, man.
Here's the craziest thing, though. The poll, when it was like in the first couple hours, it wasn't this negative. So it wasn't positive, but it was like 41% positivity between good and great. And the negativity was at about like 20%, which I was like, okay, I can expect that. I think bad was at like 11 and below average at like
people
9.
woke up on the wrong side of the bed and just said,
well, there's no decision on the waiver. So that
yeah.
People went to bed. People went to bed angry, and they woke up angry when they saw that poll.
I can relate. I think I voted average for the record because I couldn't decide where to fall on this because the racing was good, but I was mad at how it ended.
Like just that night, I was starting to get tired. I was about to the point of like, I'm just gonna go to bed and find out who wins in the morning because I was just getting tired. I was going fishing the next morning. I was ready to just be done, and all of a sudden it's done. I was like, okay, horrible, but great. I'm going to bed.
You text me like, Jarrett, just go live already. I'm like, okay.
So what did our lovely viewers have to say? I want to get, I mean, you can read a couple, but I'd like to get to the gutter comments.
Okay.
This should be good.
Okay, and the first
I bet the gutter comments are actually going to be positive.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't vetted them, so we'll learn as we go. But I will admit the first comment is a very long one for first comment standards. It is from Calypso, the Sea Goddess. Is it positive?
We have not usually seen that name.
No. Is it positive, negative, meme, or a mix?
It's got to be negative.
Negative.
Just ripping into race control.
Meme.
Oh, Jeff goes meme.
This one used my government name here. Hello, Jarrett Lundberg. It is I, Calypso, the Sea Goddess, who caused the rains at the Indy 500, Daytona 500, Chicago, and now the 600. Not Mother Nature, as you simpletons think. Because you defied my lover Davy Jones by not finishing the NASCAR romance novels, which I will never do. It is not only you that shall suffer, but all the fans and drivers of these races. Continue this defiance, and the last thing you shall learn in this life is how cruel I can be.
Jarrett, you did this to us because you wouldn't read the romance novels that you said you would.
I read it, and an act of God happened by my internet going out while I did it.
Jared's gonna eventually make it up for them and get the audiobook and just play it out loud and just sit there listening to it.
Well, Jeff was right. It was a meme, in fact.
It was.
Well played.
A little negative, I guess, for me. Nathan here was the top comment, at least at the top of my end here. Says, if you're going to call the race, just do it. Don't make us sit through hours of rain and rain delays to get our hopes up.
Yeah, it's painful.
Noah Coleman, Kyle Larson, years of academy training wasted. Let's see. SKRE says, what did we do to deserve a rainout in both events?
We apparently didn't read the romance novels, Jared.
No.
Moving on. Tank Man says, weather effing sucks. Yes.
Yeah, I hate it. The worst.
This is true.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking
about that. Let's see.
Okay, Jeff, it is fine if you want to go drive your car and look at it, but keep it away from Charlotte, please.
Everyone's telling me correct it to the Coca-Cola 373.5. It was 600 kilometers.
Danny, we need to get you a Sharpie for your shirt and either add a little KM to it or scratch it out and write 373 or whatever it is.
I'm gonna use that though. I love the fact that it was just past 600 kilometers. That's amazing. Actually,
it's like just cover this. Christopher Bell won the Coca-Cola. That's all he won.
Let's see. There's a lot of those. Damn.
Oh, as Jeff drinks a Coca-Cola, that's good timing.
Ooh.
Let's see here. Lionel Nuxtel says only Byron's grass for the past. That's a way to call it. Was the only good thing other than the rain mixed storm winds. Okay, that's an interesting comment. When did
that was an incredible pass?
Yeah,
it was, and I think Reddick did it too, but they did it from the spoiler cam, so we never could actually see if he did it. Because there was one where it's like he is way too damn low on the racetrack to still be on the track, and he's passing these cars, but we'll never know. Excellent camera work.
Oh yeah, I had written down Fox's ability to not get on a crash for the life of them. I don't know what's going on with that.
While we're here, can we just pause because we don't have Jeff on here often? I would love to just hear some of your thoughts on Fox this year and the last few years.
So funny that you would ask me that because I don't know what it is about Fox's audio, but the scraping sound on every camera drives me insane. It sounds like somebody's dragging a snow shovel behind them.
Plus Mike Joy's breathing in there too.
Yeah, so we've been on this for a few weeks now, and I was livid on this show. Yeah. Oh my God, that was. How did you do that?
Yeah.
It's every single camera does that.
Claudia
I've
was
been on this
asking me, she was like, the cars don't actually sound like that. What am I hearing?
Yeah, and
Yes.
so the chat's bringing it up because last week I was livid because Fox apparently won the Sports Emmy this year for audio, for live audio. That's
They had the
fucking
worst
insane.
audio.
Yes, no, what?
They EQ the hell out of the engines. You don't hear the actual growl of them. And then
Yeah.
you just get that weird thing, which I don't know. I think what it is I think they're using an on-track microphone and then another microphone. They're blending the audio together and it's just not working. But that's been a real problem. Every single race I've seen is just you'll have everybody in the booth talk about the entire crash that happens, and they just don't even yell to cut to that camera. They're just like, oh, well, we missed it.
And never forget Clint Boyer being, yeah, so we'll stick on this one for a while, change his camera.
Like,
I love that.
to put it in perspective, like you don't ever hear fans or go anything because when Chase Elliott takes the lead, you know it in person. You don't know it when you're watching it on TV. An average college football game. I'm going to use mine for example, Tennessee. You turn them on any other given Saturday, from ESPN covering it. You're gonna feel the excitement of the fans. You're gonna hear Rocky Top. You're gonna hear all the music they're pumping into the stadium. You're gonna hear all that being into the broadcast you're watching, plus the commentators calling the game. And this with NASCAR, like Jeff was saying, you're gonna hear just the weirdest things at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know what that sound is, but they've got to figure that. This has been going on since like 2012. If you go back and you watch a lot of the broadcasts from Fox, you will hear that sound in every single one of their trackside shots.
I've been
or the mics.
So like I've been going back and watching through different racing seasons, and that's about when I started noticing, because like what I did is I go 09, 08, 10, and just sort of work every other year out, and like I gotten through 2012 and I started noticing that more, and then I went back and I've been watching ones from 05 and I'm like, this where the hell did, hold on a second, I went back and played them. I think it was I want to say Talladega. I played Talladega from 2012 and then the Daytona 500 from 05, and I was like, this is night and day different. And,
Yeah.
but still the rest of it was good enough, like between the booth, between the talent, camera work, everything else, it was like, okay, whatever, I'm not going to notice that. But when everything gets worse, it just amplifies it.
Yeah, it's super compressed. It makes it even worse.
So I don't know if you saw, but as I was reading through these comments, I had to stop for a second as you started saying that and laugh, because Bruh, I'm a Pigeon left this comment 4 hours ago. SHR now equals Spirit Halloween Racing.
Oh my gosh.
Gosh.
I feel bad for everyone, and we'll talk about that later, involved that's losing their jobs and stuff, and I hope they find new jobs, and I hope all that. But that's a pretty damn funny comment. Let's see. Going through here. Somebody put a bunch of comments repeating saying tomorrow's Memorial Day, remember why we race, over and over and over under quotations, and then just said Mike Joy. I know it's like, I get it, but it's like he did say that a lot. Fox likes to hammer at home. Let's see. Frosty Comics says, why are there like 25% of people on this poll that always vote good? Did we watch the same thing?
Well, I mean, it's depending on what are you grading? The experience or the racing itself? There's two different things, I think, going on there.
All right. So I'm just
give us a couple gutter comments.
I'm vetting the gutter comments.
No, read them live. Do it live. Put you on the spot.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live, and then all of a sudden, why did the stream go off?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Last week they were weak. Last week it was the clean version,
and
the
they
radio
were bait.
edit.
And they were bait, as we learned with some of them, and people fell for a hook, line, and sinker downvoting. Let's see. The Sloth Nerd. This one's funny because I'm like, why was this guy downvoted? He said, I had to miss the race due to work, so I don't have an opinion on the race. That
Dang,
was downvoted.
Thumbs down. Get him out of here.
You don't have any opinion?
All right, this one's funnier to me. Blaney Best, and this is total bait here. Chase Elliott still washed. And everyone fell for it.
Wait, how many replies are there to it?
There's only one, and it's just a clown emoji, but it was
okay.
downvoted.
Yeah.
I think they downvoted because they knew what they were trying to do.
CJ Fastfoot had a positive comment, so that got downvoted. He said, good until the rain. Also, Kyle Busch's pit crew is garbage. Fire them all.
I mean, I'm surprised I got downvoted.
Fire everyone except for the get off the truck guy.
Yeah, you need him. You need that body there. Yeah.
All right, so there's a couple longer ones, and I think I can read them here. Chloe Argo here says, I think I'm done following NASCAR. 25 years I've been watching, and I have watched the sport completely fail to move with the times and continue to shoot itself in the foot with wild regularity. If they want it to stay the good old boys club, they can have it. I'm like, okay, where's this going?
I think we're past that one.
The sport will be dead in a couple decades without new fans, and the younger generation simply doesn't care enough to help this sport find a new identity. This dude's having like a quarter life NASCAR crisis here. After
yeah, well,
years.
I mean, I understand their concern. There's just a couple, like, I don't really feel like NASCAR is as good old boys as it was 15, 20 years ago. I feel like they have evolved in that sense. And
then the lowest voted comment, maybe it's because it has a cuss word in it, got voted down.
Can't curse. That's not fucking okay.
Again, it's funny you say that. Ringo Flats here. I was at the race, and it literally only rained for 30 minutes. The roads were fucking dry on the way to Mooresville. I spent too much money flying out here to be disappointed like this. I genuinely hope anyone and everyone that works for NASCAR on Fox that made that decision loses their jobs.
Oof.
I gotta find.
I feel for them. I feel for people that got screwed, because I understand that that's a long commitment for the 600.
Yeah.
I gotta find better ones, because that's
and they won't refund anybody. They're not going to refund anybody because they're going to lose a ton of money if they did. That would be the right thing to do.
Yeah, it'd be nice to at least give them, at the very least, give them credits for something, or I don't know how they would go, but
you can come watch the Roval.
Only at an SMI track.
Yeah, no, honestly, they should just give away some tickets to the Roval at this rate. That's what they need to do. I do apologize, chat, for my language and Jarrett's language. We are a family show. I really want to sincerely apologize from the bottom of my heart.
Kids aren't going to hear an F-bomb every now and then growing up.
I was trying to think of something snarkier
If you guys don't freaking stop swearing on my freaking channel, I'm going to report you.
Oh, frick.
Well, actually, funny enough, there's someone here that has frickin' in here. Says, how are people putting great, good, average? It's just straight up effing bad. NASCAR frickin' sucks. Oh,
they actually said frickin'?
Yeah.
After using the F word?
Yeah, I know. That's the best part. These are amazing. Like, oh, here's one from Evan here, who says this isn't more gutter, just more talking on behalf of the race. Said, this poll is about the actual racing product, and it was good. Always has been with this car at Charlotte, but the decisions made were far from good.
Why did that get downvoted? That's like the objectively correct response.
You just answered the question, Eric.
Why are you booing this man? He's right.
Yeah. What the heck? Well,
I'm actually kind of sad. Like, I know
there was a decent gutter this week, but much better than last week.
Hold on.
Gutter.
One more because of the elitist European F1 fans.
We will end on this one, then we're going to the Xfinity Series race.
Shake and Bake says F1 is lame anyway.
Oh, what's that have to do with anything?
I've noticed all the last week or two since this Larson stuff took off that like these. You can tell these Drive to Survive F1 fans, because the old school ones aren't as bad, but like the Drive to Survive, random kid in their 20s now that watched Drive to Survive when they were 17 during the pandemic are like, well, they're in ovals, and that's just an inferior form of racing where F1 drivers go to die. So and that's because it's American, both Indy and NASCAR.
There's naturally going to be some elitism there. Although, did you see the stat that Monaco, the positions 1 through 10 did not change throughout the entire race,
and I think like 2 or 3 others outside the top 10. It was only
or
5.
Whatever.
I just don't watch it anymore. I don't watch F1 anymore.
What's the point?
You watch the first couple laps and the last couple laps, and you kind of there you go.
I just look at the qualifying order.
I think I literally only tune in to races in America just because they're in America.
Yeah, I don't have to wake up too early. Yeah, that's the honest truth sometimes.
Someone in my chat leave a super chat on Sunday and was like, where'd you watch the race, Jarrett? I'm like, well, I watched the Indy 500 and the Coke 600 here, and I had slept completely through Monaco.
Like, to me, Monaco's not been worth watching since Tony Stark's incident, all those years ago.
This is actually the first time I haven't watched Monaco since I think 2014. Because I usually like to watch
F1
all
cars
three.
doing 20 miles an hour around those corners. That is not riveting.
I saw a great graphic from someone that showed how F1 cars have gotten so much bigger over the last 20 years, 30 years.
They
And it's like,
struggle around that thing.
yeah, I'm like, I don't follow F1 that closely. So I was like, that's a great point. That is a problem. I can see for a track like that.
Respect to the drivers. I respect the drivers fully. The product is so damn boring. I watched it not out of like necessity of I need to see it. I watched it out of obligation. And this year I was like, I'm done. I'm not going to watch it. Plus the fans, I think that was the turning point for me. It's like some of these elitist fans, it turns me off. Like,
damn.
We talk so much about like, if a new fan comes and sees how horrible and toxic NASCAR Twitter can be, it's like, well, F1 fans are the exact same damn way.
Oh yeah.
They turn me
They
off.
stopped me from playing their games. I stopped playing the games and making content on those games because it's insufferable.
They
Bad.
think that it's just a lot of them have that elitist mentality, and it's like, I used to actually watch more F1 until like a couple years ago because it would just be like a bunch of people be in Discord and I just jump in and be like, what the hell? I'll watch it with people. We'll joke about, them not really doing much because I've never found it to be as riveting as IndyCar or NASCAR, but it's like, I respect it. Now I'm like, all right, I'm good. I'm moving on. And I have a feeling a lot of people in America, especially this younger crowd that they tout, I think they're going to be the same way in a couple of years too. I've said since it blew up and they're like during the pandemic, I'm like, I think F1's going to be an American fad. Like they're going to move on to the next.
Yeah.
Fads move quicker now.
I will say this, talk about Monaco, something that's more interesting than the actual Monaco race. If you ever want to check this out, the Miniature Wonderland, a model railroad exhibit in Hamburg, Germany. Look them up sometimes because they have built a scale model of the Monaco Grand Prix that is probably way more entertaining than actual F1.
I think I saw like a video, like a TikTok of that. Yeah, that looks insane.
So there's your Danny
next
B
time
model railroad of the week.
Next time I'm in Hamburg, Germany, I will be sure to stop by.
But let's move on to the Xfinity Series race where Rick Hendrick and HendrickCars.com did get one of his golden boys in the victory lane this weekend. Chase Elliott takes
Veterans
the win.
beating up the series.
Yeah, there were a lot of Cup guys in this race, and Kyle Busch. I think he didn't win the pole. Kyle Busch started third. Ty Gibbs was up in the mix, and until did Gibbs get disqualified? Who got DQ'd?
I think you're thinking of the truck race.
Heim got DQ'd in the truck race. I was like, one of my Toyota picks got DQ'd this week, and I couldn't remember who it was.
Yeah, we'll get into the picks. Eric had a weekend to forget.
Yeah, it was not good. But can we talk about Austin Hill versus Cole Custer real quick? What'd you think of the 25-point penalty, $25,000? Was that a fair punishment for Hill wrecking Custer? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm still salty about Martinsville because I'm a Sheldon Creed fan.
Oh, I did not know that. Fun fact.
Did anyone think he should have been actually suspended? A lot of fans were calling for him to be suspended. Would that have been too far?
See, I thought it was under caution at first, so I was like, okay, like let's not, just because how slow they were going. So like I'll say no, but I will say this: Austin Hill, I don't know if he's necessarily from NASCAR side of it gotten away with a lot, but he's gotten away with a lot in the Xfinity Series, and I think a large part of it is one, younger drivers, two, they're all smaller than him, and
he's a big boy.
Probably could beat their ass.
They saw what he did to Maya Snyder. That was a statement.
He will get chewed up and spit out in the Cup Series, even if it's not a fight. I mean, he will get.
Is someone going to hire? Is someone going to hire Ryan Newman to come in and enforce things, or that Kyle Busch, the big country guy, the crew member is going to come in and be like an enforcement for like a hitman? Hey, I have an issue with Austin Hill this week. I need you at my car stat. I need you to handle some funny business.
I just could see him. Oh no. Austin Hill got hit in the rear bumper again. It's a third straight week, and it's another random person he pissed off like 3 years ago in the Xfinity Series. Like, I really wanted to see Cole Custer fight him because I think it'd actually be a nice heavyweight bout.
Yeah, they'd measure up pretty closely. Yeah, I agree. I think a penalty was fair. I think a suspension would have been a little too far because it wasn't under caution. You look in the past, they suspended Kyle Busch for wrecking Hornaday under caution. They suspected Sauter for ironically wrecking Austin Hill under caution. But I think was it last year? No, 2 years ago. They I think hit Noah Gragson with a similar points fine and points penalty and fine for that Sage Karam crash. I would compare this more closely to that incident. So I think this penalty was actually pretty consistent by NASCAR standards. Something needed to be done because, like you said, Jarrett, he has a history, I think, of letting his emotions get the best of him and overreacting in some cases. This will hopefully deliver a message because it knocks him, like Larson dropped to third. This also knocks Austin Hill from first to third in the points for Xfinity. So that's noteworthy.
Also NASCAR. I mean, that is a perfectly acceptable way to respond to something that happens to you on the track. It's always been that way. I know that they're like, no, we don't want that happening, but I mean, it's part of the product and people love to see it. They may say that they don't on Twitter, but they loved it in the moment. They're like, oh yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Well, just like the, Kyle Busch and Stenhouse fight, you saw that on every single NASCAR account for the whole weekend.
I'm so tired of massive groups of people jumping in and pulling people off and then throwing them into the tires. That's how they got injured. They were thrown in the tires, not even from punching or anything. It's like that's every single NASCAR fight is now just the giant droves of people pulling them apart and then fighting each other.
Too much heavy equipment in the way.
I've been on this train for a while now about the NASCAR fights. Like a lot of them just aren't real fights, and I want to see. Like I was at the Kansas race, the Greg helmet, and it was awesome until it got broken up. Like I'll just say this. I don't know about you guys, but for me, like if I'm there as media, I just fully understand that, like, you know what? It's a NASCAR race. If there's a fight and I'm close by, or just common sense, if there's a fight, maybe. If there's a fight and I'm close by and I get hit or pushed or something, that is a risk I was willing to take by being there and filming really close because I'd want to be right there.
So I know not everyone who watches the show has had the pleasure of doing this, but some people have. If you get a VIP pass, if you get a media pass from NASCAR, you do have to fill out I guess you call it a waiver of some kind. You have to fill out a couple things through their system. Essentially, you are acknowledging the fact that you're going to be in the garage and you don't know what can happen while you're there.
And don't put your hands on a driver or you'll get suspended indefinitely like Ricky Sr. did.
We need more Townley and Gallagher fights.
And while we are talking about fights, I do want to bring this up because I didn't know if we was going to have a good place to talk about this. I saw someone else bring it up in the chat, but can we just take a moment to acknowledge the shouting match between Ryan Newman and Tommy Baldwin Jr. that we saw this weekend as well?
Yeah, I still don't know what led up to that, but that was interesting, spicy.
Yeah, it was just a lot of F you, and then F me. Okay.
Well, if you insist.
Oh, Ryan! It's funny because it's funny to see this because Ryan Newman used to drive for Tommy Baldwin Sr. some in the modified. So it's like your greatest friends become your greatest enemies.
You only talk to your friends like that. People you're really tight with. You really know.
Yeah. I don't think they're that good.
That's how we talk after the show. We're just F you. That's how we do it, right?
Yeah, that's what they've done in the Truck Series a bit.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Truck Series. Nick Sanchez. He's a guy who's had his fair share of fights over his short career so far.
I'm gonna effing murder you. Quote.
That side draft, and then he came back over, almost wrecked himself, but that was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was good.
When the Truck Series is good, it is damn good. And that's the stuff I've missed
the trucks are a good product. They just are. They always have been, if it's done right.
We just don't always have the greatest talent.
Yeah.
Yeah. The coolest heads, I suppose. You need a little bit of hot-headedness to make things truly juicy. But
it's gotten better over the last few years. 3 years ago, it was like watching ARCA.
No, there was last year.
Well, I think
that was bad.
I have brought this up before in the show, and I think it's a good time to say it again. What ARCA is now what is the current day Truck Series. And what ARCA is today,
iRacing.
Yeah, I have no clue what to call ARCA today because, I went to a race a couple weeks back, and there was only 4 cars who were going to win that race. That was pretty clear. Right. I was pretty clear when I got there. Only 4 cars were going to win the race. one of the contenders had a problem, which opened up Zachary Tinkle a chance to get a fourth place finish, better than what he knew he was going to. And that was a cool moment. That's what the ARCA series is today.
Yeah, the ARCA series I think now is, the fifth on back is just young guys or old guys living out their racing dreams that they're otherwise probably not going to get the chance to.
And speaking of ARCA, our favorite ARCA driver in the chat, Camelot, is in the chat.
Hey, there you go.
He ran as high as third this past weekend, I saw.
Yeah.
No, he did. He was up there on a restart, which is awesome.
We're not dogging ARCA, Camelot. We love you boys down there.
No, it has its place. It absolutely has its place.
Yeah.
It's just different. It's evolved. It's not, I don't know that it's the same developmental series. It's definitely not as the same developmental series it was 10 years ago, but that's okay. It still has its purpose. It serves a role.
And it was originally, wasn't that the K&N East and West?
Yeah.
And
so
they just kind of came together, because I used to watch the K&N series religiously.
Because for the longest time, ARCA was its own independent organization.
Right.
And then when NASCAR bought it, basically at that point, ARCA and the NASCAR K&N series were already running the same body essentially at that point, the same car. So it didn't make any sense anymore to have them be separate things. So they just said, okay, Menards is on with ARCA, so we're going to have ARCA Menards regular, ARCA Menards West, ARCA Menards East, and that's ARCA.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did we get on ARCA when we're talking about the truck race? I don't know.
I do want to mention the truck race. Shout out Caden Honeycutt. I know he faded there, or had issues to cost him maybe a top 5 finish, but Caden Honeycutt now almost every week, regardless of track, is up in the top 5 in that Nice Motorsports truck. The only other driver we see do that regularly is Ross Chastain. So shout out to Caden Honeycutt for another strong run.
Yeah, Honeycutt and Heim. It's like everyone just sort of handed the win away in this race is what it felt like to me.
I just love Heim. They come in and they're like, yeah, we think there's one, or was it one? They thought one lug nut was loose, and then NASCAR tells them afterwards, nope, it was like 4. You're out of here. DQ'd. It's like, man, if you, I don't know. I get, if you really thought only one lug nut was loose, you're like, okay, we'll eat the $3,000 fine or whatever it is. But like, nah, man, that looks so bad in retrospect.
I'm thinking of that old TikTok audio, and it's like the crew guy goes, on this episode of How Fucked Up is Fucked Up. That fucked up. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty fun race. I mean, the aero blocking, it was definitely like you could see the guys up front had that advantage, but it was not insurmountable, and that's about all I can ask from a truck race to me, especially these younger guys. But I enjoyed it. I overall I thought the racing in all 3 races this weekend was really good of the top 3 series. It's just unforeseen circumstances like rain or Justin Allgaier self-clearing himself got in the way.
Yeah, we glossed over that part. Yeah,
but
good times.
But that concludes this weekend of racing. Side note: we're not going to talk about much, but the Indy 500. Shout out to Hendersonville, Tennessee native Joseph Newgarden getting a back-to-back Indy 500 win, and that got me the win for the NWP Indy 500 because I went with him.
The 3 greatest highlights of the weekend. Okay, William Byron's pass in the grass. That was pretty cool. Joseph Newgarden's pass on the last lap of Pato Award. That was incredible. Edge your seat stuff.
I thought Pato had it, and then he pulled that move in that turn. I was like, I can't believe he did that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the third highlight was when Newgarden went up in the stands to celebrate. Did you see how easily he cleared that one chain link fence?
That was awesome.
I was like, oh wow, he stuck the landing like a graceful gazelle.
Man has a great vertical.
I don't even care how he runs. I want to see him be the first like true full-time IndyCar driver to try the double. Can you imagine the hype he would bring, especially if he won in Indianapolis? He'd run through a damn brick wall.
Like, I don't know if Roger Penske would be up for fielding it, but I know they could give him a good car. I mean, just imagine it now. Him run the Indy 500, and then they've got like a basically inverted color of Logano's car. What's yellow is red. What's red is yellow. 02 or something like that.
Even the old
the 39. Do something, or the 33. They've had that one. They share it with RCR or whatever.
I'd love to see happen. I want to see at least one full-time IndyCar driver. I know David explained why it's more difficult. But God, if they could make it happen, that would be so damn cool to see.
Or even just see Newgarden run the Daytona 500 too. I would like to see that as well.
Do you think you'd get a waiver? If I'm kidding. All right, Danny, what do we got on tap next?
I've got the timer ready.
We're going to get into the super chat stage, break the very first one, and go. Antar Das, appreciate the $4.99 as the first super chat of the night. The waiver debate is ludicrous and trivial. Larson did something bigger than the sport itself and helped promote it.
Yeah.
Ooh. Calypso, appreciate the $9.99. Hello, Jarrett. It was I, not Mother Nature, who caused the rains at Indy and Charlotte as your punishment for defying Davy Jones and not finishing the NASCAR romance novel. Continue,
wow, they doubled down.
And so shall your suffering.
Do you fear death?
Calypso is going to make sure you saw that message.
Groovy Goose, appreciate the $4.99. Even though it's over, I'm glad Tony Stewart won a Daytona 500, at least as an owner. As a race fan, thanks for the memory, Stewart-Haas Racing.
I'm sure you remember that night well, Jeff.
Hunter Nixon Fishing, appreciate it. $9.99. Question for you guys: if Ford says yes to Kyle Larson and Larson goes to SHR, does SHR close down?
No, I think they would still. I think they would be still going past this year.
I think Tony would have more. What's the word? Like
interest. I don't know. Skin in the game.
He has no heart in NASCAR anymore.
He'd have more heart working with Kyle Larson.
I think he would have seen that as a project. He would have invested himself in that project, if you will.
He'd have more wins.
With that said, I can't be sold that the team would run better. I don't know if we would see Larson be what he is right now.
No, he wouldn't run like he would a Hendrick, but I mean,
it would seem like a lateral move from Ganassi equipment, in my opinion.
Yeah.
At least maybe not at first, because and they're in that same time period they were still good, but now it'd be a lateral. Bailey Reichert, appreciate the $4.99. As sad as it is to see SHR go, let's be honest. This team should have died a decade ago. Tony saved this team. Gene never cared.
I mean, I think 5 years ago, this team was winning 9 races with one driver.
Okay, yeah. but think about where this team was before Tony bought in. Gene cared enough that he knew he had to get out of it by himself.
He needed a NASCAR guy to come in and run that side.
I can't say he didn't care, because Haas is great in the world of CNC tooling. That's where he made all of his money from.
Yeah.
But he was not a NASCAR guy. He got the NASCAR guy he needed. I will not say Gene Haas did not care.
Yeah.
Well, I just won't.
I think it would be flipped around, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. Bailey Riker, appreciate another $4.99 from you. Always will wonder what Tony's own team would have looked like. Felt like he could have been like Dale Jr. and been maybe as good as him. He's a smart guy.
Maybe, but he needed the money. That's where Gene Haas came in.
We got this segment coming up. I think we shouldn't blow it out too early.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that more later. Alex Luck, appreciate it, $10. I have to say, boy, was I glad I stuck around for Indy. Totally worked the 4-hour delay, especially those final few laps. It was standing room only, and it was amazing. I bet.
Yeah,
I bet.
That sounds like that is a bucket list race to go to. That's 3 minutes, by the way, but you can do a couple more if you want, Danny.
Yeah, let's just do 3 more, actually, because 2 of them are from the same person. Mustang 2006, appreciate it, $9.99. Greetings. Finally, I'm able to send a super chat. Not much, but hope you like it. I do appreciate that.
That's very generous. Thank you.
Finally turned 18 today. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Keep up the good work, NWP. Keep up the good work, NWP. You guys are the GOATs. Also, a message for everyone to hit like and subscribe. Thank you. Yeah, definitely hit like. Our like goal tonight is 400 to unlock the random drivers of the week. And right now we're at 317.
That was a very nice super chat. Happy birthday.
So appreciate all that, Mustang. NASCARson 2414. You're the next two. We'll go in and end a few. I appreciate that $4.99 from you. Charlotte, the trucks. Glad Heim Time and Eric didn't win. Xfinity, NASCAR drivers fighting is more entertaining than Hill and Custer using their race cars. Another $4.99 from him. Indy 500, glad I survived the weather, and 345,000 fans live for an awesome race and finish. Cup 600 has only 2005 close finish and was too late of a race.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing at the other most recent super chat, but thank you, NASCARson, always summing up the weekend nicely.
We will get to that super chat later, but I see what you're talking about
I
now.
just love that there's Limu, Emu, and Doug in the chat. Anyway, what's up next?
Well, it's funny you asked that. We're actually we have a new segment where we want to talk about the weather because Jeff has been he's been playing some tornado chasing games. He's been doing actual tornado chasing. Eric had a tornado just come to him the other night. But now my phone's going off about some kind of warning on my phone because it's time for the lightning round.
And Daddy just got struck by lightning.
Oh, beautiful timing.
Perfect. All right, let's get through this baby real quick. Damn, lightning's still going. We're riding the lightning tonight. First off, shout out to the Spotify crowd. I put a poll up there that we had talked about on last week's show. Who beats who in IndyCar, NASCAR, any car in their prime? Kyle Larson, prime Kyle Larson, or prime Tony Stewart? 64% said. Anyone want to guess?
I think I said Larson.
Prime Larson.
Tony Stewart.
They said Larson.
Yeah, recency bias going to get you.
Yeah.
I think people forget how damn good Tony Stewart was. So appreciate that, and we'll have another poll. I don't know what it's going to be yet. For the grand start and opening of Cup Series racing at Iowa in front of a sold-out crowd, the Brain Trust of NASCAR and Iowa Speedway brought in a special star for the pre-race concert, seeing others A-list celebrities all over the place for the IndyCar race. They brought in Tim Duggar.
Yeah!
Danny blowing out his mic.
I just had to play into that.
I didn't know that was going. Tim Duggar, yeah.
I like isn't like Post Malone gonna be at Iowa for the IndyCar race? So like somebody really big. Like it's like this huge IndyCar event with Hy-Vee and all of them, and then NASCAR's like, we got our drinking buddy.
Yep. He was free.
So yeah,
he was available that weekend.
I guess throw more cold water over all of us here. Iowa's also repaved the bottom lanes of all 4 of their turns as well.
I've not found an actual reason for it. I wondered if it maybe had something to do with IndyCar getting some of the bumps out of there, but
it
why?
Has to be structurally. Has to be.
Yeah.
So it was from what I saw, it was something having to do with like the tunnels had made the bumps almost like undrivable for a lot of cars. I think that's the reason given. I don't know if it's true.
I get it, but man, it stinks that they had to do that right before the next gen, which is already hard to pass with. Now you're turning this track potentially into a 1 groove short. Ugh. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's like North Wilkesboro and you can spread out a little, but gosh, that's not great.
Dirty Mo Media and SiriusXM have joined in a new partnership that'll have the Dale Jr. download on there. So good news for a lot of our subscribers.
I think that's a good move because I do fear a lot of times with radio stuff and the direction that things are going that I don't know how plausible they are in the long run. So partnering with media companies like that could be good for all parties, I think.
And then in more positive news, this actually coming in large part due to a fellow Daily Downforce YouTuber and Break Card here. Dale Jr. has it in the works and has put in the application for the rights of the DEI font number 8 and is just waiting for approval from the U.S. government on it. Unfortunately, and I have to follow this up because somebody did send this to me, Teresa Earnhardt, as of like 2 days ago, put in her submission for it, so it might not be freed just yet.
I think this should go to court. I really think it should.
Oh my gosh, over a number trademark. I get the significance, but man, that'd be imagine being the I don't know what they call the judge, I guess, overseeing that whole debacle.
I'm sorry, but I think at this point, Dale Jr. should have a better lawyer than she does at this point in his life.
That's true. That's all it comes down to.
What does she even do? Like, seriously, what does she even do anymore?
If this is a legit case and the judge is sitting there and I have to listen to both parties, who's going to tell me they have a better reason to use it? Dale Earnhardt Jr. running an active race team or someone who is riding off the coattails of a legacy that her and her former husband had built, who's not using it anymore? What would you go with?
Have court in Charlotte. Get a judge from Charlotte that's been around for a while. See how that one plays out.
Preferably one that for sure was one of the good old boy age fans from 2001 on back.
Yeah, get one that really hates NASCAR today. Just can't stand it. That's who you need in there.
Where's that? Right here. I have my support. I'd put it. I don't have it on in the OBS, but I had put it on Twitter that back in 2007 when Ricky Rackman and Rutledge Wood had started the Free the 8 campaign on NASCAR race day, I actually had a sign made for it, and it's still to this day. These two hosts over here have seen it. It's still to this day hanging in my grandpa's garage with a crumpled up dollar bill from a bet I lost to him.
Even if Dale Jr. doesn't want to use it on a car, if they could just have it, just so Junior Motorsports or whoever
merch
can just sell me a hat that is red in the front with the white mesh, like a trucker style hat that just has that 8 and it doesn't look like it's cotton and layers of thickness from the 2000s. Just a newer hat with that number. That's all I'd want.
I'd get it. I mean, hell, I have this sitting right on my laptop right now. As for some other little tidbits of news here, the New Hampshire Cup race will be called the USA Today 301. SMI has adjusted the course of the Roval. Now it will add a hairpin turn where NASCAR's turn 1 for the oval is at Charlotte. Probably the last-ditch effort to try and make sure that they can have some kind of passing with the next car.
Yeah, change it up a little more. Can't hurt at this point. Can only potentially make it better.
Chris Rice on Door Bumper Clear had hinted that there could be up to 3 drivers that run the double next year based on the early
let's see. Wait on that one, Chris.
Yeah. And then last but not least, Clint Boyer will be driving one hot rod at Nashville next month for Spire in the Truck Series, as he'll be in the 7 car, or 7 truck for that race.
I looked up his stats from back in the day in the Xfinity Series at Nashville Super Speedway. It's ridiculous. He made like 8 starts and never finished worse than like 4th.
Yep.
In the Xfinity Series at that track.
I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how he does, because it would just be cool to just be there and interview him if he gets like a top 5 after the race. Be like, hey, Clint, how's that hot rod?
I swear, if one of you guys can be the first one to ask a question, or if it's me, I don't know. The first question has to be, how is that hot rod out there?
Yeah, someone needs to work hot rod into
I will 100% be the one to do it if you guys don't do it first.
I'd do it, man.
Bob's gonna swoop in.
Yeah, Bob's gonna get in there. How is that hot rod?
I actually want to hear Bob say that now. We need to get like everybody we know in the media center like in on it and just be like, somebody has
every single question has the word hot rod in it.
Just go up to Noah Lewis and Peter and be like, you gotta say hot rod. Matt Weber, you gotta say hot rod.
That would be hilarious.
It'd be like, hey Jeff, just somehow sneak hot rod into the question.
Get Clint Boyer to be asked how was that hot rod by as many media members as possible.
Peter's in the chat. He's like, I'm in on it.
Oh, good. We got one.
Do it.
There's one in.
That's the lightning round.
I can 100% get Steven Toronto from CBS on it too.
Oh yeah.
Let's roll.
Real quick before we get too far off track here. Next week we are on my channel Wednesday, June 5th. Damn. And not realize we're already close into June. It just goes by fast. We'll have Raw Gator on the show next week, so that should be a lot of fun. And that's the lightning round.
Nice.
I'll strike Danny again. Or maybe Calypso did. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, either way, as I am being electrocuted over here, it is time for a moment of silence. We are here today, gathered to remember the tragic death of Stewart-Haas Racing, everyone.
Gone too soon.
Time's up.
Yeah.
Gone too soon.
They are closing their doors after this year. There was a lot of speculation. Would they be selling just a couple of charters? Would they be selling like 3 charters and keeping 1 car? Would they just get rid of Cup Team and keep the Xfinity program? Nope. Tony Stewart and Gene Haas have seen all they want. That's all she wrote. And now the question is, where do these drivers go? Where do these crew members go? Where does everything go? I went to Charlotte back last year, went to Martinsville, and then I spent some time in Charlotte and got a chance to go see 4 NASCAR teams while I was there. Went and saw Trackhouse Racing, went and saw RFK Racing. I went and saw Hendrick, and I went and saw Stewart-Haas Racing. Those were the 4 shops that I went and saw. And honestly, I will say I really enjoyed Stewart-Haas's shop. They had all their cars out on display. They had a nice little, museum set up showing some of their biggest moments. Had a clear visibility of them working on all the cars. Like from where I was standing, I saw as I was just sitting there, Eric Almirola went walking right through the lobby, and it's like, hey guys, as he's walking in there to start talking about things. I saw Kevin Harvick doing some stuff in there. It was just you could just go in their shop and just see literally what was happening. And I appreciated how open they were for fans to just walk in there and see what they're doing.
Yeah. Stewart-Haas Racing, a 2-time Cup Series championship team. Wasn't that long ago they were a perennial championship threat. The mighty have fallen. Veteran drivers have left. Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer, Eric Almirola with them. So much sponsorship has left. Busch Beer, Smithfield. It's just the writing, exactly. The writing has been on the wall, I think, for the last couple of years. And the owners, I've seen multiple reports. Even Kevin Harvick on his podcast pointed out that in this day and age, you need the owners, the people with the authority, more hands-on, able to make those hard and quick decisions. And Tony and Gene have been way too hands-off the last few years for whatever reason. Tony's obviously busy doing drag racing. He's got a family now. I respect it. It's his life. He does what he wants, but that's who's to blame for Stewart-Haas going under. The business in NASCAR is tough, but this isn't a Furniture Row situation where the price got jacked up by Joe Gibbs Racing. They lost their main sponsor. They fell victim to a tough business. Colorado-based team, how could they sustain that? That's not the case here with Stewart-Haas. The business is tough, sure, but they've had numerous opportunities the past few years to steer the ship back towards the right direction, and they've just been unwilling to do so because leadership has been disinterested. So I feel for all the crew members, many of whom will probably land with new teams who acquire these charters, which is, I think, what we should talk about next. It sounds like 2311, Trackhouse could each get a charter. We now know that Front Row is getting a charter. Fourth charter is still a little confusing, but let's talk about the drivers. Where do you guys think these Stewart-Haas drivers end up?
I say we go one at a time based on the number. So let's start with number 4, Josh Berry, and go from there.
I think Josh Berry's best shot is Front Row. I believe there's a chance he and Rodney Childers could be like a package deal, because Rodney Childers is a great crew chief, a veteran experience. He has experience working with Ford, experience being with a key partner, analyzing all that information. So if he's willing to keep running, I could see a team like Front Row, who's still younger, still trying to get their feet underneath them, bringing in a Rodney Childers. And we know he loves Josh Berry. They've been running better lately. He could vouch for Josh Berry. They could be some sort of package deal. So my theory is he ends up at Front Row.
That's a good theory. Rodney Childers could have easily went out with Kevin Harvick if he wanted to, but he didn't, because he did like Josh Berry. He was sold on him.
Really quick, I don't want to derail this too much because I agree on the Front Row side of it, but Wicked Twister in the chat says forever, forward, for sale.
Oh, I saw someone put that on Twitter.
Yeah, I think Harvick actually said that on his show.
Yeah,
I was like,
are you serious?
Yeah, Kevin Harvick
yeah,
his show or opened that segment.
Yeah, that was his joke, and then NASCAR memes made it into an actual image and put it out there.
Maybe, especially after what he said about and it's nice seeing the owner, every week or two and actually talking to him. Maybe he has a little bit of resentment for having to break his back carrying this team.
No, he straight up said on his podcast this week, I do encourage people to go listen to it. I haven't listened to the full episode, but I listened to this segment. Harvick said in so many words that Stewart-Haas was propped up by the group that was on the 4 car the last few years. Like he straight up said
100%.
He acknowledged that they carried that organization for at least the last 4 years. And
it was clear as day. You could tell.
Yeah, we could all tell. It was just like, he's owning it. He's saying, we freaking did that. That was us. And
good.
Yeah.
He's one of the best drivers in NASCAR history. I think he deserves to be able to speak his mind on that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure me and Jarrett was laughing at like 4 people said foreclosure all at one time.
I want to see how many people have the best possible way. And this is a challenge to the chat. Best possible for what word? Anyway, I go Front Row. I think is the one I'm most confident about when it comes to Barry.
Yeah, I would put him there at Front Row. Part of me would love to see him just go back to the Xfinity Series with JRM, but I would not be shocked to see him with Front Row next year. Moving on from there, number 10, Noah Gregson.
Richard Childress Racing.
Yeah,
I've been saying this.
A lot
for
of things
weeks.
are pointing him to
Jared?
RCR. I wouldn't necessarily see him in the 3 by any means, but he's going to go there probably.
That's the only tricky thing. And Jarrett, credit to you. You were on that before the rumors started going public that you tied Bass Pro into it. Respect, but it is going to come down to can they get a third charter? And that's a big if. So I don't think that's a done deal. I think multiple teams are interested in Gregson, but so far RCR is the only team that any reporters have named. So that does give them perhaps the edge.
And the thing of Bass Pro Shops that I've learned is that they are not team loyal. I mean, this weekend they're not manufacturer loyal. I mean, this weekend they had a Toyota, they had a Ford, and they had a Chevy driver this weekend.
I'm so sorry. I think we have a winner, Jarrett. Andrea in the chat just said left for dead.
Oh gosh.
So, you know what's okay? Another challenge here. Someone needs to get the cover of the Left 4 Dead, the first one where the zombie handled the floor, and edit an SHR version with
somehow SHRify that.
Yeah, SHRify it. Tag us on Twitter. The best one, I'll retweet it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know we keep hijacking it, but we're like, this is so sad. Look at the meme.
Can you imagine Gregson in the 3 though? That would be. I'd
love it.
Crazy.
I'd love
That'd
it.
Be wild.
I think it'd be a more worthy driver than Dylan.
Yeah. Well, okay.
He could run competitively and not be below a guy who's missed 2 races in points.
He'd run better most likely, but yeah, be an interesting personality fit. Gregson, kind of a loose cannon over at Richard Childress, who's one of those good old boys we've been talking about. Maybe they work
letting
together.
Austin
perfectly.
Hill get away with everything. What the hell is the difference with Noah?
I guess that's a good point. That is a good point. Fair enough.
What
about Ryan Preece? Is he the odd man out? Does anyone know where he ends up? I feel like it's Xfinity or bust.
Modified.
I don't know.
Yeah,
back to the Whalen Tour Series.
Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if he just does that. I mean, that's where he's made his life.
He was incredible.
Yeah, he's fantastic at that. What about Custer and Herbst? I still think Cole Custer has a chance at a Cup seat, maybe with front row. Herbst has money, but I was checking his numbers again. I forgot that he missed the playoffs last year in Xfinity, which I know the car fell apart on him a few times down the stretch, but like you can't miss the playoffs the same year your teammate wins the championship and expect to get a promotion. I don't care how much terrible Herbst money you bring. I don't see a team taking that shot.
I wouldn't be shocked for Riley Herbst just because there's an existing relationship with the team already. I wouldn't be shocked, honestly, if he could go back to the JGR Xfinity program. I mean, that's where he first came in. The Monster's already in there with the program. It would make sense to me, just go back there because right now they just got a bunch of people, just bringing in what money they can at a time and just running, 2 more cars plus the 2 full-time they have. I mean, as long as it's funded by Monster, I mean, what's it going to hurt putting him back out there in another car?
Yeah, no,
Does
absolutely.
Custer even want to drive in Cup again? I mean, that's got to be so difficult to go from where he was located or where he was at with Stewart-Haas, and then okay, you're back in Xfinity, and we'll figure something out. And now it's closing shop. I don't know what is going to happen with him at all because he used to be on fire, and then I guess Tony was just kind of like, "Yeah, you're not doing it."
And also, like Haas has been with him his whole career. Is that going to still stick around wherever he goes? I don't know.
Here's an option. I don't know. 000 Music in the chat says maybe the 15 for Rick Ware Racing. I mean, that's a team that's on the up and up a bit. Maybe they need that added sponsorship money, maybe on the Herp side or the Custer side.
This is a chance with SHR going away. It might not be much up the totem pole of Ford, but this boosts Rick Ware Racing's importance to Ford.
If you're Herbst and that family and you're paying, I don't know how much money they bring, probably $5, $6, $7 million, maybe more than that actually. Would you rather spend that money on a championship contending Xfinity ride or a 30th place Cup car? I don't know. I don't know if I'd take that deal.
That's a part of the argument that's interesting too, is because we talked about Ford's Xfinity program and it's bare bones at this point.
There's hardly anything left.
Do you elevate Front Row's program? Do you maybe make it one of the truck teams moves up to the Xfinity series from the Ford side? Do you reopen Penske? There are options to look at with this. It's
AM Racing expands.
Help Haley Deegan.
They just fired their crew chief, so off to a great start.
I don't say this as her being a bad driver, much more than I'd say inexperienced. I don't think the crew chief necessarily is the problem fully.
I think there's a lot of issues over there. Yeah, Deegan's not great. And that's an off-topic thing, but she
yeah.
has not been great.
Like,
Yeah.
remember when there were, speculation that she could end up driving for SHR one day in Cup?
There was a
Dodged a
lot of
bullet
hype
then.
4 years ago. There was a lot of hype winning those K&N races, making some noise, intimidating, and now there's nothing. There's no hype anymore. It's just the sad
Like,
truth.
I think this is just random. We're getting off topic here, but that move from Toyota to Ford was probably the worst decision she could have made for her career. That's just my opinion.
She did great in SRX. I think that's what, whenever people saw that she could actually drive a race car. I mean, on dirt and on asphalt in the SRX series, it was like a win. But I think that it goes to show just how much is going on behind the scenes to make something happen within a certain team. And maybe they're not gelling with whoever they're working with.
I think
Like,
they
when-
botched her
when-
progression. I really
when
do.
she was at the peak time with financially and who she was as a racer, imagine if she had gone with KBM and done and actually had a proper experience with them rather than the team she was with.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Deegan, she's never seemed like she's in over her head by any means. Like, I think she's got the right like mental approach. It just hasn't worked. You look at the numbers she never got better in trucks, and I looked it up today. She is second worst among full-time Xfinity Series drivers in points. I think Blaine Perkins might be the only guy behind her in that of full-time drivers, I should say, this year in Xfinity. So it's just unfortunate.
I think NASCAR tends to put women in a pressure cooker every single time they get involved in a team. You've got to do this. You got to do this. You have to create history. You have to do this. There's so much pressure there. And it's like nobody else has to deal with that kind of stuff.
But
you're exactly right.
It's rough.
And we've seen a few other women start to come through, and so far NASCAR hasn't done this as much. I've noticed this, and they've done a better job of this. They haven't put that on Isabella Robusto. I mean, she's getting her fair share, of exposure, as she should, as any driver should. But they're not.
Abadizian. I think that's
the
thing.
They're not. I think they've learned not to just put expectations on them.
I think that's the thing. Also, is now because of Deegan, and I would even give Danica and Jennifer Jo Cobb, and even go back to Janet Guthrie. Go back way in the day, but there are now more women moving up the racing ladder. There's not one unicorn out there that everyone's focused on. Like, now you have a Isabella Robusto, a Haley Deegan, even Natalie Decker's still around. Tony Breidinger has that huge marketing deal with Raising Cane's. I see her face everywhere. Jade Abadizian, there's a lot of good young women racers coming up through the ranks. That's, no one driver is under as much pressure, I guess.
So someone asked what happened to Gracie Trotter. She was racing for a little while, but I think she's kind of gotten out of it a little bit.
Yeah. Anyway, we're off topic.
Last bit on that. I feel so damn bad for Johanna Long. Like, she had the talent. I mean, she had the talent. It's just never fully put together. But yeah, back on the SHR front, I think the only other one that's left from the Cup side to talk about, or really in general, is Chase Briscoe, who's been connected with the Wood brothers.
Yeah, I skipped over him because that Wood brothers deal just makes way too much sense. I don't think anything's been signed yet, but imagine that would.
But then I got no clue what Harrison Burton does after that.
I don't anyone really care.
He's been having a real rough time.
Yeah,
he's got the selling houses, buddy.
Yeah, he's got the funding. Maybe he goes back to Xfinity and could be competitive.
The thing is, I don't want to say anything bad about Harrison Burton. Honestly, he's been so nice to me when I've seen him in the garage area. He'll talk with you. He does not like see himself as being better than anyone.
He doesn't feel like when you talk to him, he doesn't feel like you're talking to a nepo baby. Like,
no,
and I
he's a good
appreciate
dude.
that.
No, him and Todd Gilliland have this amazing BFF brotherhood that I've seen it so much in person.
It might not be the smartest move racing wise, because I do think that Harrison, I don't know if it's a move to Xfinity or a better ride, just he needs a way to progress, because he is a good driver. But those two on the same team would be they'd all be menace. Like, there's just menace. That's all you have to call them at that point, because those two together are amazing.
Social media content would go crazy with those two.
Oh, here's an idea. Someone said go back to what they were originally supposed to do. Move Hendrick to the 21 and put Briscoe into 2.
I'd be okay with that. I would be okay with it. I mean, they're both Penske cars anyway.
I mean, I hate to say this because, Austin Hendrick, great for him. He won Daytona 500 his first time in that car. But that is Penske's flagship car. It should be running better than it is.
True.
Get that Mahindra money over there.
High point.
Or orange and red number 2. Can see it now. See, moving on from there.
Charters.
The charters. 2311, Trackhouse, and Front Row each are in the running for one charter apiece. Front Row has confirmed they will start a third team, so that means they're all in. They're buying one of the charters. Rumors of a new bidder that hasn't been rumored yet, and it's not JRM per Bob.
Bob said that.
No matter what that Facebook page wants to spread lies for, Bob never said anything about Dale Jr. going Cup racing.
Well, I do think, especially the way Denny Hamlin's tried to skirt around it in this podcast, 2311 is definitely in on that, and as is Trackhouse.
Oh yeah.
2311, and it's oddly enough this timing. They just opened up this new facility this weekend.
Airspeed.
And I am jealous. I've had a chance to go see that because I drove by it. It looks like it is just an amazing modern racing facility. Like the way any team should see that and think that they need to make upgrades after seeing this one.
Okay, Andrew Riggs is another one. 4 charters, 4 fitted.
They wouldn't have spent that much money on a whole building and all that stuff if they didn't think they were going to expand.
The designs for the building when it was first, concepted showed it was clearly meant for 4 cars. It had spaces for 4 haulers to be in there.
Yeah, so
they know what they're doing.
They'll get one. Trackhouse will get one. That 4th one is interesting. The RCR theory is plausible.
I really want RFK to get one.
I was going to say Keselowski said on Twitter today that's not happening effectively. So I guess we can write that one off unless he's playing mind games. I don't know.
I could see Brad like being the kind of guy to maybe hide it, but
I think it's RCR. I really do with Hill there. And
the thing is, it's like RCR. I'm like, y'all are falling off the bus real fast with 2 you have.
I'm still not. I'm not convinced even signing a deal because we've seen times before. It's very rare, but where drivers sign a deal like for a year or so, and then it's like, oh, actually, that rumor keeps popping up, and it has for a year now of Austin Dillon stepping aside into a higher up role until he is racing next year at probably Bowman Gray in the Clash, if he makes it, or Daytona. I would not take that off the table.
Yeah, things could change. We've heard that he signed a multi-year deal, at least through next season. So I would expect him to fulfill his contract. But obviously, you can retire beforehand. That happens in every sport. That's possible.
Hey, as I made a prediction, he can still drive the 3. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the Cup Series. It can be the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, he's not going back to Xfinity at this point. Is crazy. I don't think he will.
He should though. I feel like he would. I feel like he'd be so good.
He's already conquered that. You know what I mean? He's already won the Xfinity back when it was arguably more competitive.
Go win it some more.
I mean, how long?
He hasn't been in the booth very much either, so that I don't think it's happening there.
How long is Kyle Busch's deal?
He said he's going to be back next year, but I don't know how long it is after that.
But that's my thinking on it is like, if I'm Kyle Busch at this point, with kind of how much of a little cluster bleep that RCR, I'm making sure I don't say it, chat, that they've been, and how angry he already seems there. Like I see regret at that point at Kyle Busch. Like I see him regretting leaving JGR, even if it wasn't going to last long term. Going to RCR, they had that little high for like 12 races at the start of last year, and it has been awful since then. I mean, it's just he's been, I would say, one of the most mediocre drivers in NASCAR, and when the team does run well, the team screws him.
Yeah.
He's the Harvick.
And
yep.
And I know, when he was signed, they did all that, stuff saying like, oh, Brixton, you've got an open contract. Come drive for RCR as soon as you're old enough. I mean, there's nothing binding in place there. I can't necessarily say that I see the Busch family still being tied into RCR by the time Brexton gets up to that point. Realistically, as long as all the parties are still around, I could see him working out the race Spire trucks. They'll keep a good relationship with the Spire folks, run the Spire trucks, keeping the Chevy equipment. Like I could easily see him being like the next Chase Elliott, get a junior motorsports opportunity. Who knows?
Real quick, I mean, one thing that also isn't kind of looked at here is the 3 Cheese sponsorship. That was a big deal. Like, it's not like it's all going away, but the number of races is considerably going down from what it looks like.
They just released the Kyle Kush gummies I saw this week.
That's anyone else.
They're hot.
Anyone else other than a big team that would get banned by NASCAR. Just ask the Slayer car that never happened. But I don't foresee RCR being the final place of Kyle Busch either. So like the third charter like deal with moving drivers around and stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if there's holdover drivers, anything like that.
Be interesting. It will be interesting to see.
But who's the mystery bidder? I think that's the interesting part of this.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the interesting part.
RCR makes a lot of sense. I don't think it's someone outside the sport yet. I think it's still going to be internal. It's going to be a third RCR car, a third legacy car, maybe a third RFK, but I don't think Brad's bluffing. We'll see.
Won't be Honda?
Not yet. I don't think.
We'll learn if Honda's coming in 2026 in September, right?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm still betting they're here by the end of the decade, though people have been saying that since 2005.
It's gonna be Rick Hendrick with fake mustache, and he's gonna go by a different name.
Richard Hendrick.
They need to race the Accord. I think the Accord would be an awesome race car.
I'd love to see it. I don't have like a favorite car manufacturer. I just want to see more. It gives us more to talk about. It's more variables, it's more money, more teams. I just want to see more. I'd be fun.
More money.
Yeah. Side note, before we move on to our next subject, we did hit the 400 like goal. I don't know if anyone noticed that. It was very quiet. The chat was kind of quiet about it. Just, I'm just going to click that real quick, hit 400. That's just going to do that, no big deal.
Hendricks, I like that one. Well, and then another part here. So the new charter provision, this is a big part of why these guys getting their third team is big, is that basically if it's that way, if they sign it through, which I think NASCAR has just today given the new proposal to the teams, it would max out teams at 3 charters with only HMS and Gibbs having 4 being grandfathered in. So that's a huge change to it too. I mean, you're basically, if you're front row, you're going up to what Ford would have now as one of the super teams with Penske.
Yeah.
That's why I originally thought 4, like front row buying 2 of the charters made sense. But if in fact they do limit, the size of teams down to 3, obviously that's off the table. And with the news today, that probably is off the table. They're probably just buying the 1. Yeah, I'd like to understand the reasoning behind 3 charter max. Like what would be the actual reason that, because it seems unfair. I heard Hamlin talk about this, and it's exactly what I was thinking. It's like Gibbs with 4 and Hendrick with 4 is going to be an unfair advantage because they can afford it. They're not spread too thin, and that's extra data. That's more, information they'll be getting effectively, more chances to win, on track technically. Like that is unfair. I
like it. I like it as 4. I like it where it's like, okay, if you don't have 4, it's because you're choosing not to have 4.
Well, I think they're thinking, and I don't think NASCAR fans in the chat are going to like this, but I think the thinking of NASCAR is to kind of make it like Formula One and have more owners that you could get in, especially with new manufacturers. That way, if you want to keep the pie the way it is, you don't have to worry about adding up to 43 cars with the new manufacturer. You don't have to worry about somebody getting a 4th charter and butting out any new potential bidders. And maybe in NASCAR's mind, because of that, you might either A, drive the price up for the teams, or B, if the price goes down, lure in new owners. That, I'm not saying the thinking is correct. I want to say that now because people think that that's what I want. I don't want this, but I think that that's the direction they're thinking of going. I'm just looking at the chat now, and it's just all gross. Ew, no.
Well, it's not that big a deal. I just think one day, if they limit it to 3, eventually in the next couple of years, Gibbs and Hendrick should be forced to follow suit. Like if it's for a year or 2, until Truex plays his deal out or until Bowman's deal is up, I don't know. Then boot him. Then you.
If we are going to set this as the principle, I say,
who honestly, are you kicking out?
get us through this decade, say 2030, because I think that's when things will probably start changing up
Next
again a
charter
lot.
deal.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
yeah.
Just,
I don't
It'll
know.
be electric by then.
Yeah, I agree with Peter in the chat. I just don't
Yeah.
like that different teams are allowed to have different rules.
Well,
If they want to limit it to 3
Yeah.
across the board, you need to find a process to get there across the board eventually. I'm not opposed to 3 as being the limit because it does open up more opportunities for more teams to enter, but I don't like the idea that you're going to force teams to sell charters that are fully
it's
functional
clearly
right
playing
now.
favorites.
plot
Yeah.
twist. This is all a ruse by NASCAR to force Dale Jr. to finally just get a team because they're going to be like, we need an owner. We need more owners. Dale, you can have it for cheap.
I also found it interesting. Denny Hamlin said that on his podcast that NASCAR does, to his knowledge, have an approval process for any new owners. So it made me think of when I think 2311 was trying to buy, I think, their second charter. Wasn't MBM, wasn't Carl Long? Didn't he come out and say, yeah, we actually offered more money and NASCAR wouldn't let us sell it to us?
Yeah,
I'm like, wow.
NASCAR's had a decades-long vendetta against Carl Long. If you look at it in the full story,
Carl Long has took the place of Jeremy Mayfield in a lot of ways. Just say that.
Maybe there's, but if you even just take out the personal factor, it's like they know NBM Motorsports is going to suck. They'd rather have a Michael Jordan car on track. That's where NASCAR's side comes from.
And to be
so
fair,
I get it, but it is weird.
The mystery bidder. It's Money Team.
It's actually Floyd Mayweather this time. Like it's not just other people using his name.
I'm trying to think because we have a few options of who might come in the next couple of years because I think that's what this is going to open it up to. I don't believe Dale Jr. will be in Cup until I see Bob tweet it or Stern, not Slurn, tweet it, or him have a press conference. I can't see it.
Dale Jr. owning a Cup car is the new North Wilkesboro will never have a race.
The train left the station, and until it comes back, I just don't see it happening. I don't see another train car coming in.
That's a good comparison, Danny.
It is.
Well, I guess we can move on.
Yeah.
We'll move on to
try not to go too late tonight.
Move on to the next subject, and we won't go as long on this as we probably could. But since we do have Jeff on here, if you're not familiar with his channel, I don't know how. If you're not familiar with his channel, Jeff is huge with video games, specifically. Does a lot of role play gaming content with GTA 5 and the OCRP server. Jeff was a huge part of getting that server launched. A lot of great creators you can watch with that. Even some in the NASCAR community. Noah Lewis, he has a channel, Noah Lewis Gaming. He does some stuff in OCRP. But yeah, a lot of good things happening there. I typically binge watch a lot of Jeff and Ryan and Bay Area Bugs and watch a lot of their stuff from there. But also Jeff has been doing some tornado chasing content as we talked about. That's kind of a new thing going into his channel there. But Jeff, we do want to talk about some NASCAR video game stuff while we have you on here. So the official news, iRacing is set to release the next NASCAR console game. I believe that they said it's coming in fall 2025. Is that all the things you're hearing too?
Yep, I think everything's on track for that. I know some stuff that I'm absolutely 100% sure I can't talk about, but I think we're all in for a real good treat. One, but two, looking at iRacing's whole thing about, hey, by the way, we've cracked this code to make something look better. They're going to move the NASCAR product into its own kind of visual system on the iRacing service, which is kind of interesting because they're using everything they're learning from Monster Games and how they're building the game out. And that's kind of a good relationship that they have right there to go back and forth. I am beyond happy that Monster Games got that contract back because they deserved it. Worked with those guys for many years and they're fantastic people. They really, really loved the NASCAR community and gaming community, and they had to start in with absolute breadcrumbs of investors to keep this thing off the ground in the beginning because no one would touch the game series, and then get to the point where we got to NASCAR Heat 5. Well, that's whenever Motorsports Games came in and basically just did a classic Madden copy pasta job on it, and I refused to show it really on my channel at all because I was like, this is NASCAR Heat 4, just with more bugs. And then we moved on to the whole mess that became Ignition. But I think we're finally going to see somebody who's like realistically caring about this community, and we're all in for a huge treat for sure.
So you talk about the NASCAR 21 ignition. How can we avoid another motorsports games / NASCAR 21 ignition launch disaster like what we saw? Because everything I saw, and it's no offense to any of the creators who did it, because I think Eric was able to showcase the game when it first came out. No offense to that, they got a ton of creators to show this, and what were we all seeing? We were seeing people's games crashing.
They knew what they were doing.
It was like they hadn't play tested it ahead of time.
There was glaring issues there, and now we know what we didn't know then, which is how the developers were being treated, not getting paid for the gaps of development that was needed. There was absolutely shown. You can't just take a skeleton of R Factor, throw it in there, and then put models in there or code in there to make it work whenever you use an old code. It was a giant mess, and they knew that, and they were very dishonest about it. I know me and Eric had sit down talks with them, and we gave them our honest opinion on it. And I said, it's actions. Their actions will speak louder than the words. They chose no action, and the result happened from it. But we said everything that we thought was wrong with it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I remember that conversation. It was interesting.
It's an interesting conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a while ago now. It's funny talking to you now brings a lot of that back up, because I'm not as close to the gaming scene as you are, as many others are obviously. So I was trying not to be too naive to what was being pitched, how it was being explained. Played a lot of video games in my life, never worked on a video game, but you could tell there were shortcuts being taken. And like you said, a lot of it felt dishonest to a degree.
Yeah.
And that was the most disappointing part, because while the Heat games were far from perfect, at least they, for the most part, were functional.
They were increasingly getting better every single iteration.
Yeah. Exactly. Slight improvements every single year.
I said Heat 4 was fun when you could get it with a good group of people online. Everyone knew what they were doing. Like, it was actually a really fun game.
Had some great super speedway racing.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I'd say it was decent. It wasn't great, but we were. I always remember them because we were promised that we were getting the next like jump up, like not just like incremental. Like, it'll be a huge jump up, and then we got what we got.
Yeah, it was better.
Is there anything from the NASCAR 21 process that was a good thing? Because personally, I enjoyed a few things. I enjoyed how they presented the race before, and getting the Motor Racing Network crew to do commentary for that. I enjoyed those little aspects. The as much as it become a meme, to slap on the roof before you took off, things like that. Enjoyed the presence of, enjoyed the paint booth, because it reminded me, the paint booth in this game reminded me of the Eutechnics games paint booth, which was a lot of fun looking back on it. And that's pretty solid.
That's because those people that were working on just those things were all ex-Monster Game employees. Motorsports Games came in. Dimitri came in as the CEO. They gutted the Monster guys and replaced them with over the seas counterparts. And that ruined the entire company from the beginning, because now you don't have people who care at all about NASCAR, except for the remaining like 3 that were in the offices that were the 704 guys that were left over. And I know for a fact that those guys that were working on that part of the game were from 704 back in the day, and they've always wanted to do the paint booth. They've always wanted to do these features that they put into the game, but the outsourced code came in and was not working very well with it. And I mean, it's a sad story, but I'm very happy to see Monster Games has it right now, because I think we're going to see incredible things out of it with iRacing pumping, investing into it.
That's exciting.
That brings me up to the next question of this. Jeff, have you been able to see anything that people need to be aware of, be excited for, or worry about with the next game?
I don't know enough about that I can share. But I do know that I like I had said before, they're going to take that product and they're going to push that into iRacing. and it's going to be its own visual system within iRacing, which is kind of interesting how they phrase that whole thing. So take that for what you will with it. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with that engine.
All right. Well,
we
are all looking forward to the next installment of the NASCAR console gaming series. Jeff, we'll definitely be keeping an eye out on your channel for whenever you get the next clues as to the direction that's going. But we got to move on to the end of the show here, and a few things we got to get into. Should we do the random driver now or do that later?
The predictions go pretty quick.
All right,
predictions.
We'll go on into the predictions here. Jarrett, do you want to take that over?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so for this, each host will make up to 3 NASCAR motorsports or show-related predictions. We'll keep track each week of the right and wrong ones, and it was a rough week this week, as it's more often becoming. And for any long-term predictions, keep them in the next, 2 or 3 years. I don't want to keep track of predictions for another decade or two, and concise and everything like that. Each week we'll also have an accountability session with the 3 hosts, see what we did right or wrong. I'll start us off. I got 2 wrong this week off the board. I said Harrison Burton would wreck or spin at least 2 more times by the end of May after Darlington. He did once.
Gosh.
Jimmy Johnson,
Harrison.
I said Jimmy would also be involved in one of the first 3 cautions in the Coke 600, and Jimmy finished on the lead lap. Good job,
yeah, where
Jimmy.
did he finish? Because he had a good, just solid, quiet night.
I think it's like 29th.
Oh, well.
I don't know. He was irrelevant.
29th. You're correct. He started 29th, finished 29th. Way to be consistent.
Eric, you had the only one right for predictions. You said both the 2024 Indy 500 and Coke 600 would be impacted by weather.
Heck yeah.
You
really
also
went
said,
out a limb on that one.
You also said that SHR would sell 2 of their charters this year. They sold, well, they're going to sell them all.
I made that prediction like 2 months ago. Damn it.
Yeah. And then you said Kyle Larson would finish in the top 5 of both races in the year of our Lord 2024. Because you were like, we're leaving it open for next year. And I'm like, wait, what do you want to do, next year or this year? I don't know. You'll decide this year.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
Well, he might have been top 5 in speed, but yeah, Coke 600 obviously didn't happen. So,
Danny, my condolences.
Yep.
It was a rough week. You said Stewart-Haas Racing would announce this year they're going to Chevrolet in 2025. Eesh. You said Kyle Larson would have no issues getting from Indy to Charlotte because the Indy 500 would be postponed to Monday.
Yeah, that's bad luck.
Correct me if I'm wrong in this. I did not watch the entire 8-hour coverage, but you said Caitlin Clark would be at the Indy 500 showcase either online or TV in some capacity.
No, she was not. They actually had a West Coast series of games, not on Sunday, but she was not back in Indy in time.
Dang.
And you also said something would happen to his schedule that would prevent President Donald Trump from getting to Charlotte after all. He stayed for the entire race this time.
He was on the pit box.
Hey, props to him. I had that screenshot of Spotter Trump, and it got a lot of funny replies on it.
It was funny. Well, anyway, the prediction percentage, it's close. I am leading at 32 flat. Still a relatively good batting average. Eric is second at 31.43, and Danny at 25.81% correct. So,
all right.
Danny, by the way, that's our first 0 for 4 week, I think, ever. Congratulations.
Yep. Well, so are we making 3 more predictions this week?
Yes.
Okay. Who starts us off?
Jeff, if you want to. If not, I can.
Yeah, I got my predictions. Awesome. This weekend, my pick is Kyle Busch. I think that he's going to make the playoffs this year in an upset. I know that he hasn't been doing that well this year, but I think they're going to bring that car back, and I think we'll see something good out of that. That's just my personal opinion. Okay. Chris Buescher's on fire. I think he's going to get another win this. What?
We do them one
we
at
do
a
them
time.
one at a time.
Rotation.
Yeah, we should make that clear.
Okay.
That's okay.
That's
I was just rapid fire, ready to go because I know we're running out of time.
I got your pick right at least.
Yeah.
So I have it
Kyle Busch
down.
is a good pick. Jarrett, what's your first one?
I will predict this. I had to actually put in more predictions. My first one was going to be the SHR wouldn't exist in 2025. 1 week too damn late. But I will say this, that a driver that wasn't in last year's Gateway Truck Race will finish in the top 5 this year. Don't know which one, but one of them will. Maybe Corey Heim.
Oh, yeah, well, that'd be an easy pick. My first prediction is that the the next charter deal will be signed before the Iowa Cup race, which is in like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
Hopefully.
This is going to hurt a lot of people's feelings, but I'm saying it. NASCAR will not give Kyle Larson a waiver for missing the Coke 600.
Wow.
He wants
Okay.
chaos.
Oh my God. All right. Sorry, Jeff. We interrupted you before, but what's your second prediction?
Denny Hamlin's going to win this championship this year.
Ooh.
I like that. Coming in swinging.
Nice.
All right.
All right. I will say this. In 2025, both the Indy 500 and Coca-Cola 600 will not be impacted in any way, delayed, any of that by rain.
I hope you're
I
right.
think we're going to have a nice dry year.
My second prediction is that both of those open front row cars now will be filled by current Stewart-Haas drivers.
My second prediction, keeping it video game related, we will see a commercial release for the next NASCAR video game before the playoffs begin, even if it's only a teaser.
Hey, could be. Might be a little early. Could see that. Okay. So we got one more left. Jeff, do you have your last one?
Yeah, last one. Ty Gibbs will settle down eventually and gain respect from other drivers, even though he's not even getting it in Xfinity right now, and will become a championship contender by probably 2026.
Okay. See him in the championship 4, making some noise.
My prediction is that by the checkered flag, I'll even say for the Cup race at Phoenix for the finale, Austin Hill will be involved in a physical altercation.
Oh, who's going to confront that big boy?
There's other big boys that could.
You'd be surprised.
Okay. Yeah, McCulloch Racing will finish 1-2 on Saturday at Portland. That's my final prediction.
And my final prediction, Alex Bowman will get a top 10 in the next 3 races, Gateway through Iowa.
He's on a roll.
Like 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's got 5 in a row right now. He's keep the streak alive.
Damn.
Good stuff. I can't wait. I'm excited to see how these play out next week.
All right. I believe with that, it is time for the random driver of the week.
Thanks for getting us to 400 likes, y'all.
All right. By the way, Jeff, for this one, we do ask that you hide the chat because they'll give it away.
Yeah, they're smarter than us. They usually get it before us.
Yep.
All right. For this as well, you guys get 3 opportunities to give out your prediction or whoever you think it is. Not prediction, but whoever you think it is. If you whiff on all 3, you're out.
So right now we have a 3-way tie right now between me, Danny, and our guests collectively. 4-4-4. We've gotten 4 correct. So this is a big week. This is gonna.
I'm not gonna get this. I'm not gonna get this.
A lot of guests have said the same thing. Didn't David, an IndyCar guy, get it right last week?
And he got Marty Robbins correct last week.
So all right, let's do it. Let's go.
Last couple weeks real quick were Marty Robbins, Cale Gale, Chad Chaffin, Carson Hocevar, and Kenny Irwin Jr. Let's start this baby off. Right. This random driver was a very early adopter to the practice of start and parking.
All right, keep going. Let's just see.
Ton of them.
Yeah.
Steve Park.
Is that a guess?
Don't blow your guess. You got 3. Save it.
Oh, okay.
This random driver was a winner in his 3rd career NASCAR Busch Series start.
I was gonna say, what if it actually was Steve Park and we just like shot Jeff down and made him feel bad? Okay, he won in his 3rd career Busch Series race.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
This random driver finished 2nd in the IROC points, not Iraq, IROC points, in 2 of his 3 years in the series.
Oh wow. Okay. But he's starting Parker?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's all over the map.
Well, he just did it one time, I guess.
3 of this random driver's IROC wins were at the Michigan International Speedway.
I wish I knew more about IROC. Ray Abraham would be slapping me silly right now.
This random driver only ran 4 complete seasons, every single race of the season for Cup, in an attempted 20 seasons that he raced in Cup.
Oh, wow.
Nobody in the chat's got it either. Nice.
Can I make mine?
You go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is Mark Martin?
No.
Damn.
That'd be funny if we got Mark on and we did random driver and had
It was him, yeah.
This random driver has been paired in the past with legendary crew chiefs such as Harry Hyde and Doug Richard.
I feel like that should really help us.
Who else was Harry Hyde? I think they picked a couple.
Any ideas?
Bobby Isaac.
That your guess?
I'll throw that out there.
No. Damn. All right. This random driver won the 1981 Southern 500 as well as winning back-to-back World 600s.
Oh, man, I feel good about my Bobby Isaac guess. Who could this have been?
I don't keep up with who won the World 600 enough.
No, I don't. My knowledge does not go back into the 80s very confidently unless it's like the biggest, which I guess those are pretty big races, but all right, keep going.
This random driver was one of the first NASCAR drivers ever to be open about their depression and about depression.
Huh.
This random driver was one of the early adopters of the closed face helmet.
Oh, I might get this. I feel like I know who that is.
Well, don't yell out a guess.
No, I'm not. I've gotten a lot smarter over the last 2 weeks.
This random driver won 40% of the IROC races that he competed in. This random driver also was a 2-time winner of the Clash and of the Daytona Duels.
How many years did... I'll throw another guess out. Jeff Bodine?
Is that your final answer?
Sure.
No.
How many years did he run Cup? More than... How many? I don't remember. Never mind. Move on. I'm losing track of the clues.
Danny has 3 guesses left. Jeff has 2. Eric has 1.
Gosh. Okay.
This random driver finished 4th place twice as their career high in the Daytona 500. So won the 600, won the Southern 500, never won a Daytona 500.
Well, I'm trying to think of who else worked with Harry Hyde, because he worked with some big name drivers back in the day.
This random driver made appearances in the movies Stroker Ace and Days of Thunder.
Oh, so it's legit. Oh
gosh.
Oh, man, I really felt good about my 2 guesses.
This random driver, at different times in their career, was teammates with, not only, but with the likes of Dale Earnhardt, Darrell Waltrip, Bobby Allison, Dave Marcus, and Morgan Shepherd.
See, I think I was even thinking Dave Marcus might be the answer, but
Morgan Shepherd was one of the ones I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Who is Harry Gant?
Nope.
Dan, you gotta start throwing some guesses out here.
Yeah, Danny might win by default.
I'm drawing a blank.
He's gonna win by default.
This random driver was the first driver of the RCR number 31 car.
Oh, I don't know who that was. Who was it? Oh man.
Oh shoot.
Oh my God, I think I know who this is. My final guess. Who is Robbie Gordon?
Unfortunately, you will not be the one to
I think that was a little too.
Damn it.
Yeah, I just didn't. I don't remember.
He was in Days of Thunder.
That's a good. Yeah.
But Robbie, I don't remember him doing much in IROC, did he?
Did?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I see. I've lost track of some of the clues. I actually forgot about the IROC bit. Give us another clue, Jarrett. There's the chat. Chat, I assume, has all gotten it at this point.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're saying other things like womp womp. Jeff, as long as you don't blurt out who they're saying, you can look at the chat now. It's fine. You can laugh at these two with me.
Yeah,
I am.
This random driver was replaced at the Wood Brothers by a young Dale Jarrett.
Oh, did he?
This random driver also drove for Junior Johnson.
Can I? I'm gonna wait for one more clue because Danny, I don't think Danny's close. So I'm not gonna.
I'm not close.
Yeah, I'm not gonna choke this.
This random driver's last ride in the Cup Series was with James Finch, and the crew chief was Tony Erie Sr.
Oh, that doesn't help me. In fact, that feels like that throws me off.
I'll just give my first guess. Mike Bliss.
No.
Okay.
God.
This random driver hosted a television show from the basement of his home.
What?
Is it Eric East?
A YouTuber before YouTubers, according to anyone who's like on Twitter. This random driver began his career as a protege to Bobby Allison, working on his cars.
I think no, I can't guess yet. I don't want to blow it. I feel like
No, remember, we can keep going with it. It's just I'll be one-on-one, me versus Danny.
that's fine. I'm just saying I don't want to give Danny a net potential point because there's gonna be some easy ones. Right? Okay, keep going.
How many times have you just gave me one, Eric?
I'm not doing it anymore. Keep going.
This random driver was a color commentator for TNN, CBS, and TBS.
Oh, okay. I think I have to guess this now. I don't. What? No, wait. What network? Oh no. All right. I'm just gonna Benny Parsons.
You're wrong, Eric.
No.
Danny,
What the?
It's all up to you.
What?
It's no championship for you.
It's all up to you, Danny.
I got two chances.
This random driver was the first NASCAR Cup Series winner outside of North America. Like the race was held outside North America.
I think I know who it is now, but I've burned my guesses.
You can look at the chat, Eric.
Let me see. Let me see what the chat says.
Well, right now they're saying no, Eric, and a bunch of other stuff. But
Okay, let me scroll. Big Mama What does that mean?
just don't yell it out.
Wait.
I know what Big Mama Juju is.
All right, now I'm seeing it. Yep, that's who. Damn it!
That's who it was.
The broadcaster. But okay, I'm not gonna say.
Mama.
James Finch dedicated Brad Keselowski's 2009 Talladega win to this random driver.
Oh gosh, I have not listened to that interview enough to know that.
This random driver once flipped out of an event early and then called the finish of that race from the booth.
That sounds incredible, but no, that's not giving it away.
Man, now I feel like I feel foolish now. I should have waited.
This random driver's best career Cup points finish was 4th.
Good for him.
Give a guess. You have 2, dude. There is 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 clues left.
All right, well, give them to me or you're going to win.
Give a guess, dude. Come on. Don't go down swinging at least.
All the ones I would have said have been said. I liked the Robbie Gordon one thing for a second, but that's not it. Okay, heck, I don't know. Johnny Sauter. There's a guess.
Nope. This random driver was the man who pulled Davey Allison out of the helicopter crash at Talladega.
Oh, man, I went way too soon. Dang it.
Unfortunately, I don't know that answer.
This random driver is tied with Jeffrey Bodine, Harry Gant, Casey Kane, and Ryan Newman for 49th on the Cup wins list.
Not enough. I hate I don't know this one.
These are like some of these are tricky clues, but yeah.
This random driver's autopsy photos were published online 3 weeks after the death of Dale Earnhardt.
Oh, so he's dead.
Good to know that now.
That's not funny, but it's funny. It's like I wish I'd known that earlier.
Yep.
One more, Danny. There's only one more clue.
Yeah, sure. Give me the clue.
He's
In
got it. There's no way.
1998, Dale Earnhardt dedicated his Daytona 500 victory to this random driver.
I never heard him dedicate. I just thought he was like happy he won.
Yeah, to be fair, that's a tough last
Give a
clue.
guess. That's it.
I don't even know.
I'll give you a hint, Danny. It's not. It's a very well known.
No, Don't. No. This is between me and Danny here, Eric. Come on. Let's be fair.
Fair enough.
Nobody else gave you guys clues.
That's fine. That's
Come
true.
on,
Why am I
Danny.
helping Danny out here? I shouldn't be helping him.
Shoot a guess out there. There's no
Neil
more.
Bonnet.
You got it. Neil Bonnet.
And you want to know how I figured it out?
Because of the Dale Earnhardt connections?
The stupidest Dale Earnhardt movie ever, 3, and how much they highlighted their friendship. And yes, he did have a hunting and fishing / racing show. Yes, it finally all makes sense. Neil Bonnet.
Yeah.
I almost had clues being like, is neighbors with Red Farmer and Bobby Allison and a member of the Alabama gang. Like, I was really starting to cut it down. I'm like,
that would have been easy.
I was beyond stupid that whole thing, and in the end, I still got it.
Well played. A war of attrition.
That's why you have to use every single clue.
Yeah, Jarrett comes up with 50 clues a show. Well, you got to use them all.
I whittled it down to 30. Process of elimination on some of them, but good job. That was fun.
Yep. Let's rock and roll into Gateway Portland.
Yep. So getting into this, we have this weekend some weekend notes. Derek Kraus will be driving number 16 car in the NASCAR Cup Series. The Cup Series race name is the Enjoy Illinois 300, as much as Jarrett possibly can. This is a 240 lap race. Your stages are broken up in, this is weird. Stage 1 is 45 laps. Stage 2 is 95 laps. And stage 3 is 100 laps. This race is scheduled to start at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Coverage on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. It'll be on the radio with MRN and Sirius XM. And you can also listen from the NASCAR app. The weather, according to the National Weather Service, is a high of 83 degrees with morning showers, a 32% chance of rain. The defending winner of this race is Kyle Busch. And in the Xfinity Series race, they'll be up in Portland. It is the Pacific Office Automation 147. It's a 75-lap race. Your stages are broke up 25 laps apiece for all 3 stages. This race is scheduled to start at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time with coverage on FS1 and the Fox Sports app, radio coverage on MRN and Sirius XM. Weather for this race, 67 degrees, cloudy, 16% chance of rain. And a defending winner of this race is Cole Custer. As for the Truck Series, it is the Toyota 200. This is a 160-lap race, 35 laps in Stage 1 and 2, and 90 laps in Stage 3. This one's scheduled to start at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, with this one being on Big Fox and the Fox Sports app. Radio coverage will be on MRN and Sirius XM. Weather for this one, 79 degrees is the high with showers and a 48% chance of rain. They do have lights at Gateway, so they could go into the night if they need to. Defending winner of this race is Grant Enfinger. And as for the points coming in this one, the chat, you had a really solid weekend. You've kind of put a little gap on us a little bit. You have 234 points with 6 total wins. Jarrett is in second with 12 points back and 7 total wins this season. I am 19 points back with 4 total wins plus the Indy 500 win to my credit. And Eric is sitting in the basement now with 31 points back with 4 total wins. Now, the order of this, we're going to go in this order. Jeff, you're going to pick first. Eric second, May 3rd, Jarrett fourth. Chat, you will pick last. Jeff, for clarification on this, we have to have different picks for the Truck Series win pick, the Xfinity Series win pick, and the Cup Series win pick. For Cup second, Cup dark horse, we can have the same answer if it really is that. Your points don't count, but you do have the opportunity to steal points from us this weekend. So with that being said, Jeff, who do you think is going to win the Truck Series race?
Truck Series race, Raja Caruth.
Ooh.
All righty.
I like that. Okay. I go second this week. Man, I'm torn between these two. I picked this other guy a lot, so I'll go off the beaten path a bit. How about Ty Majeski? It's pretty good for off the beaten path.
That was my second.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to take my number 1 pick here, Christian Eckes.
Okay. Corey Heim.
Unless they leave another lug nut or 4 loose.
Or he doesn't show up again. The chat was picking him.
I
was like, I'm sniping this one.
I haven't done well when I went with Corey Heim, so
Chat, who are they? Who's their audible?
I think let's see. I think they're going Grant Enfinger, which that's a good pick.
Yeah, 9s. Okay, that's good. So next is Xfinity win pick, correct?
Yep. So Jeff.
Is AJ Allmendinger running the Xfinity?
He is full-time in the Xfinity Series.
Okay, AJ Allmendinger.
Fair enough.
That's
Fair
smart.
enough. I predicted 2 Colleague cars would go 1-2, so that my pick to win then will be Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah.
And that takes away my 1 and 2. Oddly enough, I mean, he's done solid enough on road courses and had some drama at one earlier this season, but he can be up there. I'm going to go with Austin Hill, the controversial big man with the plan.
And that, for me, saves the defending winner of this race, Cole Custer.
Who the chat was also trying to get.
I'm not actually meaning that one. The first one I did just to be an ass, but this one gets my pick.
They're gonna go. They're gonna go Sam Mayer. They're going for 1, which is a solid pick as well.
Yeah, both
bad
picks
backup.
are solid.
All right, so who's going to suck the cup at the cup race?
Jeff.
Yeah, we'll start off.
Oh, who wins or
Who's gonna
who's
suck?
Who's gonna suck in the Cup Series?
Yeah,
I know. It's never fun having to say who's gonna suck, is it?
I know. Ricky Stenhouse, I think he's going to be too angry to drive.
I'll go with Austin Dillon.
That's a good pick, too.
He can be good at tracks like this. I just don't see it this week. I'm gonna go with Bubba Wallace on this one.
I am going to agree with some of those in the chat. What's up, Gator? I am going to go with Chase Elliott. That 9 team just cannot perform at Gateway the last 2 years. I hope I'm proven wrong, though.
I'm seeing a lot more for the 3 than anyone else. They're going to go with Austin
There's
Dillon.
a lot of 21s that just came in.
A lot of 21s. I'm going to give him Austin Dillon on that one.
All right.
Is Stenhouse running the Sunny D there?
Oh, I don't know.
Sonny D has been.
It's always a ball.
Sonny D has been with SHR more this year, I think.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah.
I'll look right now while we're thinking about it.
All right.
But Cup underdog, Jeff.
Underdog? I think William Byron. He's not an underdog at all, but for this race, William Byron, I think he can win any race that he goes to. So,
all right, fair enough. We'll allow it this week.
Yeah.
Well, in that spirit, my underdog is Joey Logano. I know he's obviously capable of winning most races, but he's been off this year. He's outside of the playoffs, and he's finished 1st and 3rd at Gateway the last 2 years, I believe. Or was it 1st and 2nd? Might have been 1st and 2nd.
No, 1st and 3rd.
No.
He's gotten top 5s.
Yeah.
As for Stenhouse this weekend, he's in the Kroger car.
Oh,
Okay.
Kroger. Okay.
My underdog, because of knowing how Penske has ran these last few years at it, I'm going to go with Austin Cindric on this one. Penske can get the right car. Just he needs to step up and be the right driver.
I am going to go with the guy who was on fire last year in this race, and then his brakes literally went on fire. Carson Hocevar. I think he's a much better driver than he was last year, and he kicked ass last year before he went out.
And the chat would agree with you. They're going with Carson Hocevar as their underdog as well. So with that being said, we're on to the grand finale of the picks. Jeff, who is going to win the Cup Series race at Gateway this weekend?
Kyle Busch won this race.
Kyle Busch.
Well, I did have Kyle Busch as one of my top 2 picks, so I guess my actual win pick is going to be much less exciting. Denny Hamlin.
It's a good
All
one.
right. I can't believe I'm saying this, but after the way he ran a couple weeks ago and knowing his stats here, I got to go with Joey Logano on this one.
All right. So those were mine. I'm torn, but I like this guy. He's been the lone wolf at his organization for running well at Gateway. I think he's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I'm going to go with Kyle Larson.
Fair enough. Chat is maybe leaning Reddick.
Oh,
I'm saying 45, and it's not even close, honestly.
They're going to Reddick.
They're going to Tyler Reddick.
Okay, chat.
It's a good
All
pick.
over the map with
right.
our picks. There we go. Good stuff.
So that'll do it for the picks. And with that being said, we've had a great show. Let's get into the final super chats of the night, and we will let y'all go. Dominion 42, appreciate that $20. Very generous of you. I was at Charlotte. They kept telling us to expect the race to resume. No indication it wouldn't. Everyone on track was almost ready. Then the broadcast announced the race was getting called before we at the track found out.
Fox, yeah. No, the bad communication by Fox, NASCAR, everyone, like there was just too many conflicting messages. That's where they really went wrong, I think.
IndyCar put a clinic on of how to address a rain delay this past week, and
Yeah.
NASCAR should take notes.
Yeah, agreed. Ben has socks. Appreciate the $4.99. My prediction: Barry and Childers to the new front row team. Custer to the 34. Briscoe to 21. Gregson to Colleague. Priest out of Cup. Just Priest out of Cup.
Oh yeah.
And Antar Doss, appreciate the $4.99. I don't know if you guys saw Alex Jacques' commentary on the last lap of the Monaco of Charles Leclerc. Go check it out. It's pure poetry. Sure.
I've not seen it, but I'll check that out.
Jay Fendi, appreciate the $2. The Coca-Cola 600 in metric units. Gary Buki, appreciate the $5. Sorry, boss. I can't risk driving into work today due to humidity.
Yeah, it's supposed to be humid in St. Louis this week. Sorry, guys, can't run the race.
I love having those humid days off from school growing up. Those are the best.
Oh yeah, humid days are the best.
Don't run for your snow days. You're gonna need your humid days.
God, I imagine being in Florida every day is a day off.
Gosh. Ross Crash Thing, appreciate the $2. Code 0 NWP's turn to run. I'm not getting that reference.
It's a old Code Zero thing. Whenever on our group.
Yeah. Never mind. Yeah, you're right. Gosh, I've been watching you for a long time. You're right. That has come back to me. Yeah. Dominion 42, appreciate the $5. Also, with SHR gone after this year, we are now looking at upwards of 10, maybe even 15 plus driver changes across the top 3 series. Absolute chaos. Yeah. It'd be like, if you go back only a few years, it's going to look way different from a race back then. Dominion 42, appreciate the $2. They called the 600 at 11:30 Eastern time.
Oh, maybe it was a little. I think I said midnight earlier. It's close to midnight.
Yeah, that's true. Antar Doss, appreciate the $1.99. Waiver debate wants me to see the demise of NASCAR.
Oh, geez. That's a little dramatic. But to be fair, a lot of people are being dramatic about the waiver debate this week.
People are dramatic about anything in NASCAR. Let's be real.
Not wrong.
Let's see. It kind of reset on me. Mitch Timms, appreciate the $7.99 Australian dollars. If they don't grant Larson a waiver, no NASCAR driver will ever attempt to double again. It just won't be worth the risk for them. That's
Probably
true.
Yeah,
that's true. All that talk about 3 drivers next year, that'll go away. CBB, appreciate the $5. I'm a Denny fan, and even I say 100% give Larson the waiver. If NASCAR won't give it, then they kill the double because nobody will risk it. Yeah, absolutely. Mittens, the racing cat, appreciate $1.99. Mittens just simply says, "What's up, Jeff?"
What's up?
Hunter Nixon Fishing, appreciate the $4.99. I would watch Martinsville 2022 in the spring 10 times over before an F1 race. You're basically watching the same thing, though.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Yeah, it basically is the same thing.
Bobby Blair, appreciate the $4.99. I watch Monaco for historical purposes. I respect it as a part of the Triple Crown of racing, even though it's boring as hell.
Fair enough. Respectable.
I appreciate you taking the sacrifice because I'm not getting up that early to watch it. T-Money TCG, appreciate the $5. Who's everyone's surprise driver this year?
Carson Hocevar.
Yeah, Hocevar.
Chris Buescher.
Todd Gilliland.
Well, actually, let me change my Gregson. He's done way better than I thought he would.
Good
That's
point.
a good one too.
Limu, Emu, and Doug. Appreciate the $1.99. Daniel Dye is greater than Joseph Newgarden. Just ask Waltrip.
Oh my god, it's been having watched more truck races the last 2 years. It drives me nuts. It's like Daniel Dye over here. You know, he hangs out with my buddy Tim Duggar. Like,
he does mention Daniel Dye a lot. I have noticed that.
That's weird. Mittens the Racing Cat, appreciate the $1.99. Can we get Big Mama Juju the rest of the show?
Big Mama Juju.
Please, go watch all of his stuff from that character. It is always funny, especially the live streams when he does it. Rowdy8 Diecast, appreciate the 499. Even though my first 600 didn't go as planned, it was still cool to be there. Going to the Brickyard 400 next, so hopefully that'll go better. Yeah, I need to actually go to Brickyard 400 because I've only been to the road course at Indy, so I need to go to one of those too.
Yeah.
Bailey Riker, appreciate the $1.99. SHR won 2 titles in 4 years. Now they're gone. Pain.
Sad.
Mustang 2006, appreciate the $4.99. I don't know if anyone asked this already, but are any of you guys planning on visiting 2311's shop, Airspeed, soon? Maybe next time I am in Charlotte, I will go check it out, but not anytime soon.
Yeah. Whenever I'm in Charlotte next, I'd love to go stop by. I've seen it from the freeway. It looks like a Star Wars, Empire ship.
Yeah. NASCAR 2414, appreciate the $4.99. Anybody going to St. Louis race? Anyone been to the Cup race at St. Louis? I went to the first St. Louis Cup race in 2022. Me and Jarrett were at that race in 2022. I don't remember if you went last year, Jarrett. You did last year.
I was there during the rain delay, and they started doing the wave in the stands. And then just random people in the stand started throwing footballs up in the air. It was awesome. Yep. It was one of the coolest things.
We had the lightning delay.
Yeah,
and then the rain finally hit. But yeah,
and the power outage. Yeah, because I remember in the infield we're all like, "Hey, is anyone else's timing and scoring gone?"
Okay.
Yeah, there was a few. Haven't they had that issue a couple times there?
Yeah, but it's funny because it's Worldwide Technology Raceway is the real name.
It's a rough sponsorship deal.
Jeff, it's always good to see the missus. Hope she's doing well.
Oh yeah, doing great. I did bring one thing to show and tell really fast today.
Oh yeah,
so that. Jarrett will like this.
Oh,
I got to full screen that one.
This is at Gateway. I got 50 laps in the Busch car with Rusty Wallace racing experience, the best one to do because they don't care that much and it's not as strict as other ones. That's all I got.
Cool. Love that.
So when in doubt, go with Rusty, everybody.
Yeah.
Austin Blancett, appreciate the $1.99. 2024 SHR equals 1994 Junior Johnson. They are the same. I would agree with that. I think we're set. The Minion 42, appreciate the $5. Someone is claiming to have leaked the 25 schedule. Bowman Gray Clash, points race at Mexico City, and Montreal. TNT has 6 race listed, so take it with a grain of salt. And I would just say, yes, take that with a grain of salt. The graphic did look pretty official, but people can be good at Photoshop these days.
Yeah, too early to say for sure, but a lot of it looks legit, but we'll have to wait and see.
Ross Crashstein, appreciate the $5. What about a Kevin Harvick Inc. / Junior Motorsports collab? The other Cars Tour owners and Denny and Justin are already team owners. I could see KHI getting involved with JRM, especially for their Xfinity Series drivers, but that's about all I would see happening right now.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a reach.
Fred Dog 81, appreciate $10. Sorry, missed most of the podcast tonight. I don't have anything significant to say. I just didn't want to stiff Danny this week. Oh, I appreciate that. Oh, wait, I do. Wait, you do. You guys are awesome. Have a great racing. I was a little confused by that.
Oh, he did have something to say. That was very nice. Thank you, Fred.
So sorry. I thought you were saying that right after saying didn't want to stiff Danny.
Oh, wait, I do. Yeah, we all stiff Danny all the time. I think I owe Danny $20 and I've never paid it back.
I owe my gas money from something that happened like 4 years ago.
You're never getting that money, Danny.
You'll never get it alive from me.
NASCAR 2414, appreciate it, $4.99. Give me each of your favorite SHR moments. Mine was seeing Stewart win in person at Chicagoland in 2011 to start the championship.
I was there. I was there.
Classic.
Oddly enough, my favorite moment was him winning the first race, the 09 All-Star race, honestly.
I would have said Chase Briscoe winning that Darlington Xfinity race over Kyle Busch. It was dramatic. Yeah. It was obviously emotional. That was a big moment.
Yeah, I think that's probably my favorite now.
Keep in mind, I wasn't a Stewart-Haas fan. I didn't really like Harvick or Tony Stewart growing up, so it took me a while to enjoy that team.
Jeff, what was your favorite?
Which one?
What was your favorite SHR moment?
I have been to their facility, and the people there are fantastic. But yeah, Kevin Harvick was 100% right. The number 4 car was their crown jewel.
Yeah.
But out of the racing, Kurt Busch's win at Daytona 500.
Makes sense.
And Tony Gibson's reaction
yes.
to
Yes.
Tony Gibson's a national treasure.
Old man.
All right, we got 4 more and we'll be done. It's nothing. Appreciate the $5. I was at the 600 best and worst NASCAR race I've been to. Was totally gutted when they called it. Disappointed after a 13-hour drive to there for that. Ooh, yeah.
Oh gosh, that's brutal. Sorry to hear that.
Man, 13 hours. That's a long ways. I'm sorry, man. Your username is It's Nothing after all, so it's nothing.
Nah, it's nothing.
NIL weather. Appreciate the $2, Zach Willis. Are any of you going to the Brickyard 400? Not as of right now.
I'm not planning to be there this year.
Mittens the Racing Cat. Appreciate $1.99. Unfortunately, I don't think this is a yes to your question, but they did ask, can we get Jeff on a more regular basis? Would be nice to get you on more than every 2 or 3 years, but Jeff is a very busy man, has a lot going on. Definitely go check out his channel.
Well, thank you very much.
West Virginia, appreciate the $4.99. Calling it now, Alex Bowman wins the 2024 Brickyard 400. That would be pretty darn cool. I just highly doubt that happens. Yeah. And lastly, we got one last one. Appreciate the very generous $20 from you, Gary Buki. Yo, Danny, getting married to my lovely fiance next few months. So I'm curious. First of all, congratulations. I'm curious, what's a piece of marriage advice that you wish you knew beforehand?
I'm listening.
Have a good
night,
gents.
Yeah, because Jarrett and I are also getting married, at least in the next few months or years. So we need to know this information too, Danny.
Yeah, Eric's got the 2025 date. I got the 2026 date.
if this information is good, if this advice is good, Danny, I'll pay you that $20 I owe you.
Yeah, me too. I'll give you that gas.
I mean, Jeff might even be able to answer this too. He's been married longer than I have. But I would say my biggest advice for you, you've known this person for a long time. You've made a decision that, this is your person. You love them with everything in your heart. Find ways to keep it fresh and interesting. And by that I mean, like, do the little things. Like, Claudia doesn't expect me to buy her flowers, and all of a sudden she comes back from work and there's flowers in the house. Find little things like that you can do to make her day better. Do a random chore that she didn't ask you to do something like that. Find ways to do that. And I don't know what your situation is, if you have kids or not, but I'll just say this one thing me and Claudia have both done. Have kids when you're ready. If it's a good time for you guys, but while you're young, enjoy traveling. We do that right now. We don't have kids yet. We're fortunate to be able to travel and do things. Enjoy the life. Enjoy these early days of the marriage, these early years of marriage while you can. And just enjoy each other's company. That's the best thing I can tell you.
That's good stuff. The NWP now stands for the Newlyweds Podcast.
So soon it will be. Soon it will be for two of these guys here.
Yeah, there we go.
But that'll do it for this weekend, for this week's race. Appreciate everyone stopping by, and appreciate all those super chats. Y'all are always so generous. You don't ever have to do that, but we appreciate every time you donate to the show.
I saw a comment in there. It said, Jarrett and Eric are getting married. Will it be Eric Lundberg or Jared Eastuff? And it's funny because I have a cousin whose name is Eric.
Oh, is it Eric Lundberg?
Yeah, remember my cousin.
Oh, then you have
Eric
to take my last name. You have to take my last name.
No.
Yeah, just confuse all the things.
It's spelled differently.
While it's on topic, we'll read this last one from Alex. Appreciate it, $5. The most important 3 words of a successful marriage are not "I love you." It's "I am sorry" and "I forgive you."
I was wondering where that was going.
I thought it was going to be "She was right."
Those are also some good ones. But we appreciate everyone for stopping by. You can join us next week, Wednesday, June 5th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be live going over everything that happened at Gateway in Portland this week. It'll be on Jarrett's channel, The Iceberg. If you're not subscribed to him, what are you doing? Subscribe to The Iceberg right now. And we will be joined by our special guest, Raw Gator. But with that being said, that's all we got. So we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Oh, crap.
Thanks for being here, Jeff.
Where's the outro key?
Absolutely.
Oh, are we gone yet?
I haven't muted myself.
Drivers!
Mute.
Start your engine!